morning. It looks like we're up and running. Let me just click on Restream and get that part working too. Lots to talk about as usual today. I do think we're getting a little bit of a market pullback today. I think that is mainly tied in. My thesis is around the Japanese yen carry trade. I think people are still worried about it, and that's okay. I think that's going to be a big nothing burger, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. Morning fam, says Morrow. Morning to you, sir. Kane says, what's up with it? Not much. Just getting started. Need to drink a bunch of coffee. I got like 3 drinks in front of me, so I should be good today. Probably means I'll definitely be taking a pee break about the time the bell opens. All right, real quickly. There's as usual, a lot to talk about. Everything's moving. We got some data out of Mexico. Let's look at that real quick, actually. Let me just zoom in. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I don't even know what I did right there. I think I zoomed in my whole screen. Is that a thing? Is that a thing on a Mac? How the fuck? How do I fix this? Does anybody know if you've accidentally zoomed in on like your whole Mac screen, how to bring it back? If you guys have any ideas, please let me know because I'm looking weird here today. I'm looking real weird. Anyway, all right. Let's keep going. Mexico, mid-month core inflation. Let's just look at the year over year. The month over month, we can look at all of it. Actual 0.28, consensus 0.23, forecast 0.2. So they're a little hot. Anybody has any idea on the max and how to zoom my screen back down? Let me know. The year over year number, 3.72. Again, a little hot. Consensus is 3.68. Forecast is 3.6. And then if we jump over here and look at non-core inflation rate, we see 0.2% for the month. Consensus was 0.29, forecast was 0.3. So if we're ignoring core inflation up a little bit higher than expected, non-core lower than expected. And let's just look at the actual charts here to get a better idea. Good morning from the EU. Smash the like. I used to work for Apple. Then you should have the answer, Purdy. Oh, command. All right, here. Sorry. No, that's just to minimize on a specific window. I somehow have zoomed. Okay, wait. Press Option, Command, +8 to zoom. Toggle zoom on off. Option, Command, +8. I don't know what that means. Oh, hey, that was it though. It was Option, Command, minus. I didn't realize you could zoom in on the entire window. Thank you, guys. You're awesome. Thank you for everything. Command and 0. Okay, that works too. Thank you, guys. See, I got all my pros here. You guys hooked me up. All right, let's keep going here. So core inflation rate. Let's just zoom out. Let's look at the 10-year here. So this is for Mexico. I would say that this isn't a bad number. It's actually kind of in line with what they were running pre-pandemic. So core inflation, to me, looks good. It looks very reasonable. Let's go to max, especially when you zoom out. For Mexico, it looks perfectly reasonable. So let's look at non-core. Question to crypto investors in Europe with a volume of 1 million. Is Kraken the best choice? Thank you. I don't know for Europe if it is. Anybody has that answer? Throw it out. So yeah, let's look at the 10-year. So again, the 10-year non-core inflation, guys, looks like it's falling off a cliff still for Mexico. So nothing screams inflationary about this. So Mexico, not seeing anything that really worries us about inflation. I would assume that's a good thing. Now, Canada, we have retail sales numbers coming out at 7:30. We've got our initial jobless claims continuing, all that stuff. We'll see how it looks. Previously, it's looked good for the jobs-related data. So we'll see if we're still getting that. Again, unemployment ticked a little bit lower. It's all good stuff. We got a bunch of inventory stocks for all kinds of commodities in regard to energy. We don't care too much about that. And then we got the 15-30-year mortgage, the 10-year tips auction. Today's another really light day. Tomorrow is going to be the big economic day. And again, tonight, the Bank of Japan interest rate decision is at 9 p.m. So if you wake up and everything's red in the morning, it's because people are freaking out about that. If you wake up and things are green, it's because it wasn't that big of a deal. That's going to be that's the elephant in the room right now. So we'll see how that goes. And tomorrow, again, a bunch of stuff, a bunch of data. We got manufacturing and service data for Germany. We've got business barometer for Canada. We got housing-related data in Canada. We've got our PMI-related data, existing home sales, Michigan data, Kansas Fed. So tomorrow will actually be a pretty good, tomorrow will be a pretty good day for economic data. That's really probably the biggest part of the week. And then it looks like Sunday over the weekend, we get a bunch of China-related data and some Japan-related data. Let's see here. Morning, everyone. We buy in deep, cracking. Oh, and also too. So just to give you guys. So again, I think with the Japanese yen carry trade, I think it's going to be a non-event. I know there's people like Luca and some others that I have talked with in the past that have similar but different strategies than me that are talking about concerns with the Japanese yen carry trade and how it's going to roll over. I don't know if he has anything recently in regard to it, but I don't think that that's going to be a really big deal. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably in here somewhere. Oh, yeah, right here. Okay. The yen carry trade crash, must read breakdown. So, yeah, I don't think this is going to be a big deal. So we won't read it. But if you guys want to read it, you can look it up. But I'm going the other way with that. I actually think it's already happened. I showed you guys some charts yesterday that were, or at least one chart yesterday that showed that it had kind of washed out in the last extreme fear stage of Japan. And so also Japan is buying a lot of Japanese or U.S. equities. And we're also seeing people in buying European equities, which is fascinating. So if you look over here, bar chart posted, the second largest rotation into European equities in the last 25 years is currently taking place. I don't know who's placing this bet. Maybe they're just trying to diversify. Their markets are incredibly beat up and have been for a long time. And at Davos, at the World Economic Forum, they're finally talking about deregulation. I wonder where they got these ideas from. They're talking about deregulation, which is great. I love that idea. We'll see how well it works out in Europe. But I don't know if that's one of the reasons we're looking at rotating into European equities. I personally would not be touching it. Benzinga's scratching its base, going like, "What's up with that?" I would not be touching European equities right now. I think that's a bad idea. They ain't gonna deregulate shit. I mean, odds are it's not gonna work out very well. Now, I do love this, and again, so Anthony Pompliano is going to talk about abolishing the IRS. I think this is a brilliant idea. I love the fact that we've got the External Revenue Service. He's going to show you a few charts here. I'll just let him do it. It's only a minute.
Donald Trump just suggested an idea that is going to blow your mind and put more money in your pocket. Let me explain what's going on here. So if we go back to the 19th century, 80% of revenue for the U.S. government came from tariffs.
So again, this is a chart I kind of want to hone in a little bit. Let me see if I can zoom just a little. So if we look here from 1700s all the way up to the 1900s, we received our revenue from tariffs. A lot from tariffs. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't want to just get all your revenue from tariffs right now. I think that's a bad idea. It's a good narrative, though. It's a good narrative for what we're planning on doing, though. And I do think that you could take this thing up a little bit and you could help out a lot, relieve a lot of pressure, along with everything that we're doing in the United States right now to try and draw in business, which we're seeing a lot of. And we'll talk to that. We have another post here about Saudi Arabia looking to invest $600 million into the United States over the next 4 years. That's interesting too, and I think again you're just going to see more and more of these. That's after the $500 billion that we talked about with investments coming from Masa and Microsoft and other companies in regard to expanding out Project Stargate, which Elon is shit all over. We'll cover a little bit of that too, at least the parts of substance, because him and Sam Altman are going toe to toe. He basically called Sam Altman a crook. Very interesting times. All right, so Nick Timmeros, I want to go through a few things, and there's a lot to talk about today, guys. We got Palantir, we got Dan Ives raising the price target up until like 90, I believe it was, or 95. We've got Tesla, we got new models coming in the first half of this year. I think everybody forgot about that, but that's still happening. And then we have Grok coming out in 2 weeks, Grok 3, and earnings are looking good. We've still got we've got 14% of earnings reported. And we're seeing 78% are beating estimates with a median of 6% still. And then it looks like, again, the ones not meeting are only losing by, negative 3%. And that's a much smaller number. It ain't 78%. So this is all good stuff. Let's just read. Let me get caught up on comments a little bit here. So Sean said corruption started in 1913 Federal Reserve and IRS debt system. Yeah, a lot of it, right? And then after a few world wars, we're like, hey, we should get on the U.S. dollar system, and we've got all the gold, and everybody will work with us. We'll guarantee security for the world. There's benefits to that too. Like we did a good job for a very long period of time helping ensure the safety of the waters around the world so that free trade could happen. Free trade could happen, and we could make it to where, you know, things were safe and they got where they needed to go, and it helped with growth around the world. I think we just let people rape and pillage the United States for too long, and we're going to talk about a lot of that too. We got a lot of interesting charts in the Trump section of this discussion that talk about some of that. So I think it's great. Jesse's better than morning coffee. Let's have a great day. I don't know about that. I got my coffee right here. Martin Pilda, 20 years of hyper-regulation is not easy to get rid of, and it pays millions of people in the EU, and they don't have an Elon Musk, Martin. That's the part that I worry about for them, right? But we need to start. We lost 15 years. I'm hoping you guys can learn from what's happening in the United States, because I think that's probably what's going to end up happening. Let's just look here, though. We got Nick Timiraos, Nicky Leaks, with the Fed here. Not with the Fed, but kind of with the Fed. Said SF Fed research that housing sales fell more than listings suggests that the primary effect of a tighter monetary policy has been to temper housing demand rather than restrict it. So he's saying that housing demand is just tempered, and that I don't know. Let's read through here. It says figure plots, the national count of sales, green line, and new listings, blue line, from data provided by Zillow, along with the 30-year mortgage rate, a red line. On new originations from Freddie Mac from 2018 and 2024. Sales and new listings were roughly equal leading up to the pandemic. However, after a short-lived shutdown in the housing market in early 2020, sales spiked about 25% relative to 2019 and remained elevated until early 2022. New listings, by contrast, quickly returned to 2019 levels and remained there. Again, we kind of know why this happened, right? So looking over here, we've got the 30-year mortgage still remaining very high. And let's just see here. There's our dates. And then we've got the sales of new listings, which I believe he said were green. I wish they'd just show the fucking legend. Come on, people. Counts of sales. The national count of sales is green. New listings is blue. And then the 30-year mortgage rate is red. Okay. So new listings, again, I'd say this. Actually, new listings and sales in general have been suppressed by the higher mortgage rate. And I do think that if that comes down, when it comes down, because I believe it is going to, that we're going to see the sales and listings going up astronomically. So I don't know if this was as interesting as I thought it was, but this one is. So this is the Labor Department All-Tenant Rent Index, which leads shelter inflation in the CPI, rose at a much slower pace than last quarter. It was up 3.2% over the fourth quarter. 4 quarters ended Q4. It says it's very close to the 3.1% average between 2017 and 19. So all he's saying here is basically rental inflation index, which, you know, again, this is a leading indicator. Said this leads shelter inflation, which is great because we want to know what's coming next, right? So he's saying that is actually showing that we're basically back to 2017 to 2019 levels. So when we get our next CPI report, what are we going to think? We're going to think that it's probably going to come in lower. All right, so again, here's the Saudi crown prince aims for $600 billion U.S. investment push. So Mohammed bin Salman, again, this guy did have a person murdered. Not great, or at least his group did years ago. But again, we need to maintain a strong relationship with Saudi Arabia. They're kind of like America of the Middle East. They're about as liberal as it gets. They let women drive cars. How crazy, right? Letting the women drive. So these guys are about as radical and about as democratic as you can get in that region, even though, you know, again, he's a prince. So this is good. It's good that they're investing in the United States. Let's see if there's any much more detail. It says this follows recent efforts by Saudi Arabia to deepen relations with the U.S., aligning with broader regional and economic goals under Vision 2030. I might have to read into that more and see what all that. I know they're trying to do a bunch of stuff, but I should probably find out what all that pertains to. All right, let's keep going here because there's more to talk about. Somebody said the DOGE clock is now. Yeah, I saw that. We're going to talk about that too. I think that's great. So now in the U.S. debt clock, we've got DOGE in there, so we'll be able to see the improvements that are being made over time. What's my take on the 10-year? I don't know. We can look at that in a second. I don't actually think it's doing much. I think it's going to roll over. I think it's kind of bear flagging. We can look at that from a technical level in a minute. Everyone remember that Trump is the top meme coin on Sol by a large margin. Yeah, Sol is doing good too. We'll have to talk about that. Marty Party said U.S. money supply ticks up, global liquidity index ticks up, warming the printers. I agree with this. I will let you know, though, that Michael Howell is still cautioning that he believes that by the end of the year, global liquidity is coming down. That's not really new. And he said maybe even sooner. So, again, some conflicting reports on that. I think I'm more optimistic than Michael Howell is, though, but we'll talk about that later. I posted, is a part of real Donald Trump's strategy going to be to push mortgage-backed securities into the private market? Again, we got the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac conservatorship, talk of that coming to an end, getting these mortgage-backed securities off the federal government's balance sheets into the private market. From what I've heard and read, it sounds like this could raise interest rates in the 10-year even more, or not the 10-year, probably the 10-year would go along with it, but mortgage rates would maybe tick up a little bit higher because of the risk that these, pushing this over into the private market, they're gonna apply a higher multiple to these mortgage rates. So I do think that's possible, but I do think this might be brilliant too, because I said, think about it. It benefits the valuations of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are going down a little bit today. Oh, no, it looks like they're starting to go up in pre-market, while freeing up capital that could allow the government the ability to buy their own long-dated treasuries. Now, this isn't me just coming up with this idea. I was actually listening to my buddy Lynn Alden yesterday. If you guys haven't listened to this interview, it's a pretty good one. I love Lynn. I think Lynn is wonderful, and I think she's got a really brilliant view into macroeconomics around the world, and it's usually a unique one. I don't always agree with it, but I do love to hear it. And she kind of floated that idea that what they might do is kind of use that, like get that off their balance sheet, and not have to worry about it, and then use some of those funds instead to be able to buy back their own longer dated treasuries, which I think is kind of a brilliant idea. And again, when you throw that alongside of the defense bonds that Michael Howell was talking about, I think you have two potential solutions that get us closer to pulling down the 10-year, which I love. Casper. So yeah, the 10-year. Speaking of the 10-year, let's just look at it real quick here. So we'll just pull it over to the screen since somebody was asking about it earlier. Casper, somebody, I don't know. So here is the 10-year, and again, it's kind of this trend line over here. It's kind of trying to creep above it, but this is what we call, guys, from a technical world, this is a rising, broadening wedge, and it's not a very bullish sign. I need to widen these, whatever, or make them bigger, I should say. But if you look right here, and let's just get rid of this because I don't know how helpful this line is so much. And again, we can kind of already see what we've done here, so we can get rid of this too. And then, do I have the ability? Can I pull this up? Can I pull this up? No. Okay, whatever. But essentially, again, you can see it. So I'll clean these up later. But you can see how this is going up. You can see how this is going, at a lower angle, and it's rising and it's broadening. And this can happen for a little while. But honestly, from a technical pattern, this feels like it's going to pull down. So that's what I think of the 10-year. Also, real quickly here, I'll just look at some other stuff. Oh, not over here, though. Let's get back to this window. And this is Michael Howell's Substack. This is where I get some of my information from. All right, real quickly. SoFi and Palantir TA is much needed. Yeah, we can look at that. I still think Palantir is going to get toppy, but man, it just continually surprises me. And I did post some recent articles just again about new contracts. I think these guys are investing heavily into the defense sector, which is kind of great because it might make my work easier. Because I'm pretty sure Palantir, I'm pretty sure Joe Lonsdale, Alex Karp, all these guys are driving into the companies that are going to do best within the defense sector. So if you want to diversify, it might just be Palantir, even though their valuation might be a little rich. They might be the guys that end up benefiting the most from all their purchases and their investments in the sector. Still, though, so if we look here and we just glancing over at this, we can still see that the dollar has lost a decent amount of strength from its wick over here. And again, it could trade up near this range, but I just want to remind you that going all the way back here, like the last time this was above this downward trend line was 1985. And this is a 2-month time frame. So these are really hard tops. When you're looking at it, it might not look like much. It might look like, oh, this is just 2 wicks up. but in actuality, it's 4 months and a lot of weeks, 8 weeks worth of time frame. And over here, it's still a lot more than that. As again, you kind of you hit a total. I mean, this was a little bit underneath, but you hit a total of at least, 8 months, 16 weeks of time frame where this thing was hitting it and dropping back down. And I think it's going to happen again. I think the dollar can only go up so much. By all measures, it's definitely overextended. Shane said, hoping to see a little mortgage rate rally if rates get back into the fives. Yeah, well, I mean, I think you'll see the mortgage sector rally if rates get back into the fives. I think that's really fair. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Let's keep rocking and rolling though. So we got about 9 minutes until we get more economic data. Okay, and here's that video, I believe again, or this might be a different one. I watched a bunch of videos yesterday. So this one, it says at 1630, and this is a little bit older. It says you could make an argument that the credit cycle is just getting started. I think I talked about this one before, but I do agree with that. Here, just from yesterday, it says if the U.S. government goes into technical default by not extending the debt ceiling, this could cause the TGA, the Treasury General Accounts, to be run down, which would provide $650 billion in liquidity as it happened. So the only thing I wanted to put out here, this probably isn't a danger of happening right now, but something that you would think, like if we ran into a technical default, you would think that would be the end of the world if this happened. But in actuality, it would end up opening up more liquidity. And again, there's some argument to be made about the government not being able to spend that would be beneficial too as well. So all I'm trying to put in here is just kind of make you think devil's advocate about how some things that could be perceived as bad sometimes can end up being good. So again, just trying to throw it out there. Let me see if there's anything else. The bookmarks, I hate them sometimes how they organize. It sucks so much. So again, I think today markets are getting pulled down because of the fears of the BOJ. I don't know if that's the official narrative, but that's what I think the narrative is. And I don't think it's going to be a real problem. And again, all the stuff we talked about yesterday, FS Insight saying the ISM Manufacturing Index had its longest streak below 50 contraction territory since 1948. I think this is all rocket fuel for the upside. So I just want to reiterate that again. Yeah, jobless claims data is coming out in 7 minutes, a little less than 7 minutes now. That is all good. So let's go back over here real quick. Let me shrink this up. We will look at other things. And I want to jump back up. Again, there's so many good things, and people love to focus on the bad. I'm going to jump up to Tesla since I don't usually give that the spotlight. And let me zoom in here. So I put, great, Tesla's raising prices again because of low demand. And again, it's me being sarcastic. And if you guys have the actual reasons for why they're raising these by so much, let me know. This is a huge increase. These price changes are fucking nuts. So, and this is in Canada, and there's a lot of news about Canada. Canada sucks right now. But price changes, Model 3, $4,000 to $9,000 increases depending on the trim. That is huge. Model Y, $4,000 increase on all trims. Model S and X, $4,000 increases on all trims. It seems like Tesla knows they've got some people heavily being scrunched. And that they can play with these margins. These are big increases. This is like the chip demand, and we can still produce stuff. I don't know if it's related to tariffs at all. I mean, again, we haven't said any yet. So if it is related to tariffs, then it's very, very premature and very early in the process. But maybe. Unlike real estate said, Canada stopped EV incentives, so that might lead to low demand. They have to. Yeah, but that's the opposite. If they stop the EV incentive, you would probably lower the price to try and encourage demand, right? I was being a little sarcastic in this post up here. This is the opposite of that. So if they remove the incentive, then you're also piling on price hikes at the same time. No, I mean the dollar didn't move that much versus the Canadian dollar to warrant $4,000 to $5,000 increases across every product that you sell to them. So again, I don't totally understand this, but it's interesting. Also, Stephen Mark Ryan said, why did everyone forget about this? And again, right here, guys, plans for new vehicles, including more affordable models, remain on track for the start of production in the first half of 2025. So we've got new vehicles, including more affordable models. What are more affordable models? It's probably not going to be the new Model Y. So I just want to reiterate, I showed a post yesterday that showed a cyber cab with a steering wheel. I don't know if that's going to be it, but we still have a more affordable model coming in the next 5 months, and we're on track for it. So I think people should really be paying attention to this. It's kind of a big deal. Canada was getting China cars. Then Canada introduced a tax on China cars. Now they're coming from the US, and I think that combination of that along with the dollar, interesting. I actually think that's probably one of the most accurate responses that we've gotten this morning. So I'll look into that more. Thank you, Angela. All right. And again, we've got a new version of 13 coming out. I can't wait to try it. My truck is actually in the shop. Evidently, somebody was driving my truck too aggressively because it's not the suspension I'm having a problem with. It's the front drivetrain. I've heard other people have that problem too, though. So it's not just me. And then I found out, it's kind of a sad story, but somebody I know, or at least in the Tesla community locally, has a friend who loves Cybertrucks, or their kid loves Cybertrucks. He's 7. They found out he found out he had cancer recently, so they're going to be showing him their Cybertruck. But then we're going to try and work it out. Hopefully, mine will be back in time where we do a Cybertruck light show for the kid. But I can't imagine having a 10, almost 11-year-old daughter. I can't imagine her having cancer, let alone at 7. So anyway, I'm praying for them, even though I'm not really a religious person. And I can't wait to meet this little kid and hopefully make his day. Grok 3 release expected within 2 weeks. Again, that's so exciting, guys. There's a thread on it. Check it out. And real quickly, so Tesla, OpenAI, closed source for maximum profit. Again, Elon invested a massive amount of money into this company, and it was supposed to be a nonprofit. It was supposed to ensure that we're protecting against the potential threats of AI, and it has completely turned the other way. And Elon's calling out Sam, saying that you don't actually have the investment dollars that you have from Masa-san with SoftBank. And SoftBank has had a lot of ups and downs over the years. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. I would bet less that Sam has the stuff that he needs and more that Microsoft will be devoting $80 billion towards infrastructure. I don't think it's directly related, though, to the stuff that's going on with Project Stargate. So I don't think that that's really going to be so much of a thing. And I think Elon usually ends up being right. So I think Sam Altman, I hate to say this, but I think Sam Altman could be a murderer. I do believe that his coworker, who was going to be spilling the beans on OpenAI, just magically died. And there's whoever killed him had a wig on, so it seems like pretty premeditated, right? When somebody has a wig on before they murder you. And yeah, the bigger issue is Sam funding Axios and being anti-Trump. So Sam is super anti-Trump. And again, I think this is one of those things where it looks good on paper. Trump wants to get stuff out there. He wants to work with both sides. But I do believe that Sam Altman is a fraud. And I don't know that the stuff that he's working on is going to do very well. And we already know that, is it Satya Nadella? Is he Microsoft? I don't know. I get everybody confused. There's so many people that I don't really follow that much. Yeah, jobless claims coming out in 50 seconds. But he's talking about doing some major investments, and they got everything they needed from OpenAI. They're going to be making their own models going forward. So it's going to be, yeah. And Sam praised Netflix founder Reef Hodman for blocking Trump in all ways, including, again, the bullshit from, Satya. Okay, from Microsoft. Thank you. So I think Satya is going to be devoting a lot of money, but I don't think it's towards this project. I think Sam Altman is a fraud. I think anybody who drives around in a $3 billion plus Bugatti, one of the most expensive cars in the world, after he gets done telling you that basically they're a nonprofit, he doesn't even have insurance, it lets you know a lot about the character of the man. That's my take, okay? That's my take. My Ricky Bobby Rick Santelli coming soon. Oh, yeah. And we got the data's coming for Canada and the U.S. We'll probably ignore America's hat and jump over to the U.S. first. So 4-week average for jobless claims, 213.50, which is right in line. Continuing jobless claims, about 1.9 million. That's just a little bit higher than the consensus in the forecast, so that's kind of seen as a negative. Initial jobless claims, 223, expecting 220, 219. These aren't really off the averages very much, but I'm sure there'll be a negative spin put on those. Canada retail sales ex autos negative 0.7%. Forecast for consensus of 0.1 and negative 0.1. Retail sales month over month, final and prelim. For Canada, it looks like the final number is 0% and consensus was 0.2 and 0.1. So Canada's weaker than they want to be. Retail sales year over year is 1.6. That came in line with forecast. But yeah, not too much in regard to our jobs related data. It's not really making waves at all. And then retail sales in Canada are much weaker than they were, pre-pandemic. They were trending down, right? Like they're in the 3s, 1s, 2s. But now, I mean, they're sub single digits, single digit, like 1.6-ish range. So not looking good. Oh, was it a different car? Is that what you're saying, man Mahindra? I don't remember if it was a Bugatti or a different one. I don't remember that from the image. Let's look over at Rick and see what he has to say. We're just going to pull him up real quick here. Give him his minute in the sun because we love listening to Rick Santella. He's a good shit. I followed Elon for almost a decade. He's a genuine human being. There's no mirage. Yeah, there's no mirage, but Sam Altman is sketchy as fuck and will lie to your face.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. Rick Santella here, live CME HQ. Breaking news, initial continuing jobless claims. On initial claims, 223,000. That's a little higher than we're used to. That would be the highest level going back to the first week in December of last year. And keep this in mind. We haven't been over 250,000 on initial claims since the first week in October of 2024. Continuing claims also a bit higher.
Okay, so the way he sold that, it's like really, really a negative thing. So let's just look at it real quick. So, let me refresh. I hate it when it just starts to reprocess again. So initial claims, 223. Oh, he said over 250. So he's saying that, okay. So he's saying that it's still probably a pretty low number. And again, if we go back to 3 year, we're able to extract the COVID time. The COVID time really throws this for a wrench in this. But if you look over here, again, we're in the 200s. Before COVID, we were in the 200s, the low 200s. So we're in about the same range. So I guess he wasn't spending that as negatively as I thought it was from the tone. Let's go back real quick here. Oh, no, that's the Trump train. We are on that, but we're not going to play it right now.
Here, we're watching yields move down on this info.
It was
1,899,000.
2 million. My bad, guys.
Literally a whisker under 1 point.
We have figured it out. It's is it a Koenigsegg $2 million Regera? My bad. I got my exotic cars wrong, and the price slightly. But again, the point still holds. This guy said that he doesn't care about money and none of that matters to him at all, and that he wasn't giving himself a paycheck and yada yada. This is a fucking nonprofit, and now he's trying to flip it to a profit organization where he makes billions of dollars. And all of the ethics people and a lot of the original founders of this company have left, and he's driving around in $2 million supercars. So I think the premise is still true. The man seems douchey as fuck.
9 million.
What about your Hurricane Lambo? The Hurricane Lambo would be like $300,000 versus $2 million, and I'm not pretending to be a fucking nonprofit. I make my money. I don't ask other people to give it to me. So I think there's really good big differences here, right? Like really big differences on who Sam Altman is and pretends to be, and who I am. I'm somebody who's fucking self-made. I'm a high school dropout. I came from nothing, had nothing given to me my entire life, and I didn't ask other people for fucking money. I made my money. It's only in the last year where I've gotten anything in regard to revenues at all. Yeah, I'm just going to ban Romeo. You're right. Get rid of him. Fuck that guy. Block user on YouTube. All right, Romeo doesn't have a voice anymore. So I made my money myself, and I had zero revenues from social media until this last year in 2024. And I didn't even want that to happen. So, whatever. Fuck Romeo. Anybody who wants to act like I'm a fucking hypocrite, you can go fuck yourself, okay? I might be hypocritical on some things, but I'm not hypocritical on the things that matter. Just to be very clear.
We haven't been above 1.9 million now in
if there is an Antichrist, it's Sam Altman.
3 weeks.
Might be Barron Trump, too. I don't know. He still really scares me.
33 weeks. Yes, that's correct. And in the rearview mirror, a subtle revision, 1,853,000 now is last week. We know we were closed Monday of this week for Martin
Rick
Luther
does the
King
best
Day.
meltdowns.
That next week will probably show us some seasonal adjustment issues. But these numbers right here should be pretty straight, and they have moved up a little bit. As I said, yields moving down. But maybe the big news in yields, if you look at yesterday's yields in treasuries, they traded above the previous day's highs. Today, we're already trading above yesterday's high yields. Looks like the market on interest rates has had a subtle turn to the upside. Andrew, back to you.
Yeah, I think you know what I think happened, Joseph Ting, in regard to Sam Altman and OpenAI. Their business is dying. Their business is dying because Grok 3 is going to be better than every version of ChatGPT here soon. Okay, in the next couple of days, every version of it. Within the next 2 weeks when they release it, and they desperately need more processing power, more money so that they can try and keep up with Elon Musk. And the problem is Elon Musk is burying them, right? Because if Grok 3 is better, it's got a standalone app. You can go to a dedicated website for it, and you can use this thing for less cost. And it's integrated with X. So if you're on X and you pay for the premium membership where you get greater visibility and all this stuff, why would you even use ChatGPT anymore? Grok 2 in some ways is better than ChatGPT. I agree with that. They've added a lot of functionality to it. So all these services for these chat AI bots are going down to a marginal cost for users of zero. If there's anything Jason was right about on the All In podcast, they're going to zero. And they won't cost anything. And so how do you make money on that business model? How do you have a tens of billions of dollar value company unless you're getting money from other people to try and survive? I don't think you do. So I think it's very interesting. I think it's very interesting to see what they're trying to do, and then Elon calling them out. He's trying to let you guys know. ChatGPT is 5 years old. Grok is young. Grok was literally built in the last year. I mean, it's nuts, right? And you got Gemini. You got a ton of other models all coming out. And again, there's Anthropic. There's so many other AI versions that are just ChatGPT is going to die, is my opinion. And I think Sam Altman hasn't gotten his money grab yet. And he's afraid that he's going to lose it too because Elon's suing him for going from a nonprofit to a for-profit, which has never been done before, at least not on the scale that they're doing it, right? So I think that, I don't know, I think it's going to be a lot of pain for Sam. And he shouldn't pick fights. He shouldn't respond back with anger towards Elon because Elon will crush him. I mean, don't get me wrong. Elon did literally kind of call him a fraud and say that he didn't have the money. So, I mean, I guess he's not picking the fight. He's just getting bitch slapped and then responding back. But I do think he's going to lose that battle a lot. Jonas said, but don't you think it's better to have more competition? I would rather have ChatGPT and Grok. Dude, there's so many others. ChatGPT is going to die. And it's going to die because all the original people left because they think Sam is a creep. And if Sam's murdering his fucking coworkers, no, I don't want that kind of competition. I don't want the kind of competition when there's a whistleblower in your group and you have him fucking killed. It's not the kind of competition I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that maybe is a little bit better than that.
Thank you.
Mauricio says, thoughts on MSTR continuing with ATM offerings and eluded the NAV. Is that going to hurt the stock in the short term? Or I don't know. I wouldn't worry so much about their strategy. MicroStrategy is very good at managing their risk level and not overextending themselves too much. Cash Patel needs to investigate Sam for murder. I think he does. Albert, unpopular opinion. I like last Grok image generator more than the new one. You're always going to have stuff like that. It's probably just a series of commands to fix it. And again, Grok 3 is going to be even more powerful. You always have steps back while you're going forward. But by every measurable, like quantifiable metric, Grok 3 will be better than like every other AI out there in a couple of weeks. So he was accused of sexual abuse by his sister. I know, dude. Sam Altman is a creepy fucker. He's a creepy fucker. I mean, he could be all kinds of things. Jay Strez, Sam's younger sister, has some awful things to say about him, too. Jonas Gilman, I heard that MicroStrategy would do a 10-to-1 stock split, 330 to... No, they're not. No, they're going to be diluting those shares. They're not doing a stock split. I mean, they're going to be diluting the fuck out of those shares. Massive dilution coming for MicroStrategy. Massive.
Thank you, Rick. We are here in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum. And for the first time on the show, we're going to, not for the first time on the show, but for the first time. All
right. So it looks like the AI landscape. What is this?
About AI, global AI. Of course, we've been talking about that all week. But first time on the show, Scale AI founder and CEO Alexander Wang. His company provides accurately labeled data to help companies train their AI tools.
Is like everything in Davos about Chinese companies. Anyway, what do we have here? Thoughts on Trump. Tired Gang said thoughts on Trump, official coin, and the crypto markets taking a dip last night, cooling before the rip. I think that's probably what's happening. I think that people need to get past this Japanese bank rate decision for more liquidity to come into the markets. But again, I don't know if I said this earlier, FS Insight, Mark on FS Insight, he's like one of the technicians. He said breadth was reduced yesterday, and he thinks that there could be a pullback in the next several days, 3 to 5 days, trading days, I'm assuming he's referring to, and that and that could happen before we start going higher. So maybe that's the play. I don't know. I'm not a day trader. I'll just lean into that more. Is the MicroStrategy dilution bad for investors? I don't think so, because it gives you more Bitcoin versus the stock that you hold every single time, even including dilution. So I don't think it is, and I show that ticker a lot. I think it's actually very, very positive. What else do we have for economic data? And that's why I'm adding to my position in MicroStrategy and leaning into any downside. Can that guy even buy a beer yet? Can that guy? No, I don't know if he can. Let's see who he is. Let's see.
And back in 2022, he became the youngest self-made billionaire in the world. Pretty amazing.
Thanks for having me on.
I want to go straight to what we were just talking about off camera, which is the idea of
What's
where
the word?
the U.S. is.
Just sound it out, like put a space in between everything. No.
On AI versus
is
China.
Is it retarded?
Because you have some very surprising statistics that I think will probably, frankly, freak out some of the viewers.
So yeah, first of all, the AI race and the AI war between U.S. and China, I think, is one of the most important issues of today. We took out a full-page ad on the Washington Post on Tuesday saying that America must win the AI war, and so this sort of relative race in AI between the U.S. and China is critical. Today we released
Can't say Satanist.
Humanity's Last Exam, which is a new evaluation or benchmark of AI models that we produced by getting math, physics, biology, chemistry professors to provide the hardest questions they could possibly imagine that are relevant to their recent research.
Yeah, Jeff L. says, remember, Elon didn't trust Sam Bankman-Fried either and didn't do business with him. Yes, exactly. He mentions China has way more H100s than we think. They do have, and they're trying to make it look, I forget which version it is. It's actually pretty good. Is it DeepSeek? I don't know. Anyway, they're trying to make it look like, we're using GPUs that are old tech, and we're able to get these amazing results with AI. But really, they're piggybacking off of the software that's come from the United States, and they're using graphic cards that are some of the latest tech, because they were able to get through all the loopholes that were in the Biden administration's blockade of AI against China. All that's being shut down now from what I'm seeing. I look at all these Chinese sites that talk about this stuff. And so I don't think they're going to be able to keep up, guys. Over 50% of the data centers are in the United States. I think the AI infrastructure is going to be in the United States. I don't think these guys can do it. Yes, DeepSeek, and it's super cheap and open source. Yes, it is. But that's the way these things work. They try to get you into it. The Chinese government will subsidize the fuck out of things to try and give a perception that they're always in the lead, and to make it to where they get U.S. adoption. So, but they can, if they lose access to all these graphics cards for like real, and they're not able to acquire enough to be able to expand and keep up with the rate of growth that I think we're going to see in the United States, they're going to fall drastically behind. And they're having to build some of their infrastructure outside of China, which is not helping them either.
Really put the test.
Because again, in war, they could lose that infrastructure super quick.
The models. To give you a sense, no model is getting above 10% on this test. That being said, what we found is that DeepSeek, which is the leading Chinese AI lab, their model is actually the top performing, or roughly on par with the best American models, which are.
So again, this is the narrative. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They always want to put themselves first and say, we're the best, we're going to be the best, we're doing it for cheaper, we can do everything better than the United States.
01 from.
Okay, so I think
I have like 120K in Trump coin, and it's not going exactly where I thought it was going to. It might retrace first, but I think my buddy Income Sharks has a target of like the low 30s. I do think that that's probably the bottom of it, and I'll probably just buy more.
we have been all under the impression.
But again, keep in mind, guys, when I say this, like this is like 1.6%. 1.5% or something. I don't know. I'll run the numbers again on Saturday of my portfolio. So this isn't like an all-in play. So just be cautious and remember the lot sizes that I'm picking and the percentage of my portfolio. If this thing goes wrong, I don't give a fuck. It's like nothing to me. At losing 1.5% of my portfolio, if it went to zero, which I don't even think is remotely likely over the next 6 months, I don't care. But if it goes up anywhere from 5 to 15x, like I think it can, with my mid target around 7 or 8, then I do care, because that's an asymmetric bet that gets me a bunch of money, gets me probably $1 million off the 115 or 20, or I think 105 or $110,000 original investment, and I might still even be up right now. Albert says, FYI, Grok says that Grok 1 and Grok 1.5 are still available to paid users. Okay.
That the U.S. was way ahead of China as it relates to AI, in large part because.
So again, this is the narrative,
we have
though,
access
right?
to.
This is the narrative China always wants to spin: is that no, we're doing better and we're doing it with less.
You know, NVIDIA GPUs and chips and other things that supposedly the Chinese do not have.
Supposedly,
I keep hearing from people all week, from Chinese AI executives, that they say we're so close, and by the way, we're doing it with one hand tied behind our back. Our algos are better. We're actually going to figure out how to do this, do it better than the U.S. and in even a more energy efficient way, because we don't need these super powerful chips. Are they happen to be right?
There's two things happening. First, it is true. It has been true for a long time that the United States has been ahead. And that's been true for, maybe the past decade. That being said, the very recent event on Christmas Day, about a month ago, DeepSeek released a model, which, by the way, I think is symbolic that the Chinese lab releases, an earth-shattering model on Christmas Day when, the rest of us are sort of celebrating the holiday. And they released it to
why? Why?
To much fanfare, and then they followed up with their reasoning model, DeepSeek R1, which is the one that we evaluated as top of the leaderboard. The reality is yes and no. So the Chinese labs, they have more H100s than people think.
Okay.
And these are
so
the
he's actually
highest-powered
voicing
NVIDIA
that.
chips
Good.
that they were not supposed to have.
Yes. My understanding is that DeepSeek has about 50,000 H100s, which they can't talk about, obviously, because it is against the export.
So again, this is what I was talking about, and I was right about the numbers. They have 50,000 H100s. They're not supposed to have them, and they do, but they're pretending like they're able to do this with lesser hardware than what an H100 provides, and it's not true. That was the narrative. That was the news. Is DeepSeek, China, they're able to do it with old GPUs, and they're able to do more impressive results. It's like, no, dude, they fucking took some code. They might have optimized it a little bit. They're using all the fucking same hardware. They've got like half the lot size of these GPUs that Tesla has with their neural network and everything that they're trying to do with Grok. And that's why they're able to get impressive results for a short period of time and make it look like they're on the leaderboard and they're the innovators and you should be investing in China and yada, 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 yada.
Controls that
it's not
the
true.
United States has put in place. And I think it is true that, I think they have more chips than other people expect, but also on a go-forward basis, they are going to be limited by the chip controls and the export controls that we have in place.
How do you, you work with everybody.
Yeah, we can look at some
I don't know if
tickers
it's fair
in a
or
bit.
unfair, but how do you stack rank these large language models and who ultimately is going to be a winner? Or are they
if he doesn't
all so
talk about
close and it
Grok,
gets
I can't take him
commoditized?
seriously.
The interesting thing that we see right now, so we actually specialize in this. We've produced our SEAL evaluations, our safety evaluations and alignment labs, evaluations which measure across many different dimensions.
There is a separate Grok
We measure
app,
across
isn't there?
math capabilities, coding capabilities, multilingual capabilities.
There's a site for
and
it.
reasoning capabilities, and many different dimensions, including tool use and agent capabilities. And what we see is different models are better at
It's
different
on
things.
iOS.
So
I don't know
it's hard
about
to
Android
put
yet.
a clear stack ranking among all the models. For
Yeah, not on
example,
Android.
the OpenAI models are extremely good at reasoning, but the Anthropic models might be really good at code. And sort of there's a diversity of capabilities of the models. That being said, I think what we're seeing in general is the space is becoming more competitive, not less competitive.
I keep hearing from business leaders here that they're all playing around with, OpenAI, or they're playing around with Claude, which is the Anthropic model, or they're playing around with Gemini, et cetera. And then they're
ChatGPT's
going
down.
and using Llama. They're going to find some open source.
I do actually want to hear the rest of this conversation. It's kind of interesting, and this guy's interesting too. He's a lot more truthful than I thought he was going to be about the situation with DeepSeek and the fact that they've got the 50,000 GPUs. So I found that very fascinating. So somebody said that ChatGPT is down. Was that down? That's interesting. Here, let's go back to it. If you guys find anything, let me know.
Version to try to get close to what they could approximate these other guys doing because of just the different price points of these things. Do you think that's the future of this?
It's down.
Like in a Linux world?
So that's fascinating. So ChatGPT is down, and we've got this guy talking up DeepSeek, but being honest about the fact that they're using the latest H100s, and the previous articles we've seen are bullshit, but not mentioning Grok. So you say it's not down, Eric? Okay.
There's definitely a dimension. It comes down
in
to
Canada as
ultimately
well.
the level of capabilities and intelligence that are required.
So it's down in certain regions
for your use case. I think ultimately what we're going to see is, what we do with all of the leading labs, including OpenAI and Google DeepMind and Meta and many others, is continuing to push the frontier and push the boundaries. And so how do we leverage data, given that as an industry, we've sort of run out of publicly available data? How do we generate new data to keep pushing the frontiers? And our belief is that, advanced capabilities are going to enable incredible use cases where you're going to be willing to pay for those increased.
Yeah, I think it is, Chicken. I think it is, but I don't even know what the relationship. It seems to me like Satya Nadella and Sam Altman are drifting away from any business relationship over time. They don't seem to be good friends. They've had some problems and some disputes, and so I don't know that they're playing nice with each other at all. Down in the UK, down in Germany, working in Ireland. What a fucking mess. Oh no, the ground's rumbling. People are working next door again. So anyway, I might say this later and watch the rest of this. I need to figure out who Scale AI is. I wonder. Let me see. Scale AI. I want to see where are these guys based out of. I just want to know if it's a Chinese company. I want to know, do you guys know off the top of your head if this is a Chinese related company? Let me see. Usually there's like a headquarters, I remember customers, blog. I don't know. I can't tell from this. I'll ask Grok later. But I do wonder if they're a Chinese related company. They're in San Francisco? Okay, cool. All right, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I figured you guys are like my pseudo Grok. So that's great. Thank you. All right, let's go back here. And let's see how markets, real quickly, I'm just going to look. I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to look at the stock heat map because markets have been beat up. Let's just look here. Pre-market, so a lot of stuff down. Well, it's looking a little bit better. NVIDIA getting hit today. Glad I sold my NVIDIA up like 4% plus yesterday and used that to buy MicroStrategy and other things. Even though they are, how is MicroStrategy? MicroStrategy is down 2%. It closed down 3 yesterday. So really, it's kind of near the lows of where I had bought it yesterday anyway. Market doesn't look too crazy, though. We got Tesla up 0.3% now. But again, chips getting crushed. It's funny how that works. What is this, though? GE. GE is up today, 7.3%. Boy, that company has made an impressive turnaround, at least with the stock. It's been phenomenal. They're a Mechanical Turk for data cleansing. Okay. All right, you guys are so informed. I love it. So much information to grasp from you. All right, let's hop back over here again. I want to look real quickly. Oh, I do want to look at commodities too. There's a few other things I want to add onto my roster that I kind of want us to keep track of on a daily basis real quickly. So again, the weekly for energy is still in decline. You can see how over the monthly was going up and the yearly was up on some things. Natural gas, 76%, TTF gas, UK gas. So really just gas around the world, probably again because of what's going on with the war between Russia and Ukraine. And we're seeing that it went up a lot over this from year over year, and again, seasonality wise too, this would be about the time you'd get hit and feel some pain. You chat is like Grok 420. Nice. Hey, that's not bad. But yeah, so we've still seen these over the weekly starting to come down, and there is a bunch of stuff happening. It sounds like we've got I don't know if it's a 90-day time frame. We'll look at it under the Trump section here. That Donald Trump has given to end the war in Ukraine with Russia. So we'll see what happens with that. Real quickly here, let me keep going down. So metals are still going down, it looks like. And again, we've had gold and silver going up. So again, that risk off trade. But the rest of it though, iron ore, HRC steel, this is the stuff like in skyscrapers, still a 30% decrease. Let's look at that real quick too. And just see what that looks like over time. So it's pretty crazy, right? You could see that after the pandemic, you could see where China especially was doing a lot of building, just trying to keep, they thought, oh, hey, if you just keep building, they will come. Somehow you'll have, an extra 200 million people that will be born overnight, and they'll want to buy housing in China, even though the real estate market has been plummeting for years. And so they just kept building, and it drove up these prices dramatically. But since then, it's just been dead. A fraction of what it was over here. And I think that will continue to decline, at least for them. And there's just a ton of that. We're still seeing ag going up. It looks like cheese is going up, but we're seeing things like tea going down. And then again, we know that there's some storms that are going to disrupt some things like orange juice and anything that's in Florida. Say goodbye to it. It's dead. So that sucks for them because, again, it just means that the prices are going to be higher next year. So if you like OJ, you're going to be very sad. Industrial, we're seeing stuff coming down again today. And I think that's about it. Let's see. Salmon's getting cheaper, guys. So buy your salmon this week because that's looking all right. And then we're seeing containerized freight index dropping. Isn't that interesting? This is fascinating. Let's look at this real quick here. So there was this narrative that we were going to see prices going up with containerized freight. And back in the middle of this year, everybody's like, oh my God, it's happening again, guys. Inflation through the roof, inflation through the roof. In June, July, people were like talking about that. And look at what's happened. Containerized freight's dropping again. So you had the big increase after the pandemic where everybody bought their shit from China. But now we're seeing this stuff coming down again and getting cheaper, which I think, again, is just going to be another indication that inflation isn't as strong as people want it to be. All very fascinating. So we've looked at that. I think we're done with the economic data that matters now. Yeah, it's all just inventory stock. And again, other stuff coming in at 11 will be gone before that. I real quickly want to jump over. You liked that Bitcoin 1 hour candle? I haven't been looking. Oh, getting a little bit of a reprieve. Okay. That's good. And if you look over bottom right corner, guys, you'll see that, again, we've got... it's kind of like a descending triangle in the opposite direction. But I do think what's good about this, and that some people might not be able to see if they're not too technically savvy, is the fact that we've bounced above this volume cliff and stayed really well above it. And now, like, if you just push it in here, guys, look at this. And now we're above this one. So you can see how we're like riding the volume higher. And again, was it yesterday that we had a new all-time high or an all-time high close? Maybe the day before. So I think this is looking really strong. I think we've got a supply crunch coming. I've been saying that for a long time, but I actually do think it's happening. So that's good. At least we're ticking up a little bit. I love to see that. Let's jump over to Trump, Department of Government Efficiency, and a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a lot of geopolitical stuff going on too, guys. So again, this is just, I threw some of this stuff in the Trump section, but it's the Sam Altman, OpenAI, funding Axios with, which pushes propaganda against Trump and the American people. Just basically going after Elon, going after Trump nonstop. And then we got the White House press secretary yesterday, Caroline Leavitt, confirms that President Trump is sending 1,500 troops to the border. There's so many good things happening. Everybody's like, are we getting the SBR today? I don't know, man. Don't worry about it too much. Everybody that's in office right now under this cabinet is pro-Bitcoin. I think really good things are coming. But let's listen to this part. Our borders are getting secured right now. That's probably a precedent, or that's probably something that takes priority. And then again, we got off Ross Ulbricht just the other day. The man's free after 11, 13 years in prison. I don't even know. He thought he was going to die there, and now he's a free man. And it sounds like we're going to try and get Roger Ver out from what Elon Musk is saying. And I don't know about Edward Snowden. It's hard to, even if it was for good, it's hard to be like, oh, hey, we should let the guy out that gave away a bunch of information that was top secret for the U.S. because you almost incentivized that to happen again. So we'll see if Snowden gets the release. But let's listen real quickly here to Caroline.
Yes. What is he doing this afternoon? I believe it was Reuters who broke the news that President Trump signed an executive order of 1,500 additional troops to the United States southern border. This comes off of his day one action, as I just talked about on Fox News, to direct the Department of Defense to make Homeland Security a core mission of the agency. This is something President Trump campaigned on. The American people have been waiting for such a time as this, for our Department of Defense to actually take Homeland Security seriously. This is a #1 priority of the American people, and the president is already delivering.
I already like her way better than that curly-haired bitch that was under Biden. She's doing great. Christian says, since Gavin Newsom has been talking to Hawaii Governor Josh Green about wildfire recovery, I decided to take a look into how Maui's rebuilding efforts have been going. Again, Maui got no help. North Carolina got no help. What was that other place? Palestine got no help. That was after their big chemical blast train thing or whatever. Nobody helps these people, right? Only in California do we talk about paying all the bills. But let's look at this. How is Maui doing? So 18 months since the fires, a total of 3 out of 2,000 destroyed and damaged homes have been rebuilt. So if California does it as good as Maui is doing it, another liberal community, it ain't going to be good. It ain't going to be good at all. So pretty sad. Pretty sad. 3 out of 2,000 houses in a year and a half. That just shows how well the Democratic machine runs things. Let's see here. So this is interesting too. Jewish group gives Trump admin list of pro-Hamas foreign students and faculty to deport. So if you're not of this country and you're praising Hamas and Hezbollah and terrorist organizations, and that includes Mexican cartels now, per a previous executive order, you can and will be deported out of this country. So all these college kids that are protesting all the time, death to Israel and all this stuff, they're going to go away. And I love this lady Sloan up here. Yes, we did. Yes, we will. Ballsy motherfucker. So all these stupid ass protests are going to go away because these people will literally go away. And I think that's better for America. You got to remember, there's been billions in foreign influence guys from places like Qatar that have invested in our educational system, China, in our higher education, especially like the Ivy Leagues, like Stanford, Harvard, all these places, Yale, all of these places have received billions in funding from foreign governments that want to destroy us. And so it's fascinating, and it's just really a sign that these people need to go. And I think that's wonderful. Stupid youth, future Gaza. Dude, Gaza's such a mess. And it's like they're celebrating. They're talking about how we're not done yet. We're going to fight. I watch these guys who are literally like excited because all the leaders of Hezbollah have been killed and Hamas has just been devastated and most of the Palestinian territory is rubble. And they're like, fuck yeah, we won. And it's just like, that's barbarism. It's barbarism. That's what Elon Musk called it a long time ago, where you can justify the murdering of children and women and raping of small kids for your cause. Fuck you. Fuck you. And anybody who supports that, get the fuck out of this country. All right, let's keep going. More happy thoughts. Charlie Kirk, CNBC reports today, this was yesterday, that they will be laying off hundreds of its 3,500 employees later this week as the network struggles to make money. They're also switching to a paid model from free. So going forward, they're going to charge you $3.99 to get the digital version of all of their stuff. It's crazy. Kurt Brown says, I'm 12 miles from East Palestine. My family is getting a $500 settlement. What? Hey, dude, 250 more than some of the people in North Carolina. You're rich. That's fucking awesome. What a bunch of bullshit. But again, if you were in California, it'd be like, dude, we'll pay for your $20 million mansion. Isn't communism great? Isn't the Democratic Party just amazing? They're like, oh, guys, we care about all of you. except for the people in East Palestine, except for the people in Maui, except for the people in North Carolina, except for the hardworking people that we're supposed to be representing and that we used to talk about all the time 20 years ago. Now we just want to pay for 20 and 30 and $50 million fucking homes in California because it's one of the only states we have left. So it's just hypocrisy at its finest. But yeah, so CNN dying. Traditional media dying. I've been saying this for almost 2 fucking years since Elon took over X. I say, guys, he's not lying to you. X will be great. Yeah, he's firing 75% of the staff, but look at all the improvements that are happening in the application. Now we're going to have Grok 3 in a couple of weeks. All these legacy systems are dying. The CEO of CNN, you know what he said about the inauguration? He told all of his hotheads on there, shut the fuck up. Keep your bias to yourself. Don't call Trump a criminal. Don't use all this old rhetoric. Look at it with fresh eyes or kiss your fucking job goodbye. They are desperate to survive. Desperate to survive. When will the Democratic Party become free from communism? I don't know. Maybe in a couple of elections after they lose another one and another one. History tells us they're probably going to lose 2 more before they win again. Charlie Kirk, I love this guy so much. Stellantis, I love him because he never went to college and yet he just destroys Ivy League elites that are going to college. Even the professors, just destroys them in interviews. He's so amazing. But let's listen to this. Stellantis is going to move jobs from Canada back to the United States. Also, guys, Canada is such a shit show. Amazon, we're probably going to have a post here in a second. Amazon is shutting down their shipping facilities because the group's unionized in Canada. And so they're shutting the whole fucking thing down and they're going to use third parties to do their shipping. So all those people that are like, yeah, we unionize, woohoo, we're winning. And it's like, and you're gone. So that's how that works. You think you could price control everything and force a company to unionize and have to deal with that, and then it just all goes away.
That hot on EVs either. It's interesting to see Olaf Scholz in Germany wants to really push ahead, obviously because they've invested, Volkswagen, Daimler, and BMW so much in electrification.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is interesting. You know, they're also pulling their production down from Canada into the U.S., Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan.
So yeah, again, they're moving. Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, all these are going to die anyways. It doesn't really fucking matter unless they get on a platform like Tesla's. Unless they get a Tesla skateboard like agreement or something in the future, they're all going to die. But I love that, again, they're leaving. They're coming to America, guys. Everybody's coming to America. I think that's the narrative you need to understand. Also, Colin Riggs said U.S. Transportation Command has been told to prepare the U.S. military aircraft for migrant deportation. So these big old bombers are going to start deporting people. Trump has also told the military to prepare to deploy 10,000 active duty troops to the border. We've already got 1,500 going there right away. Don't be surprised if you see Marines being dropped off by helicopters. We've been told to treat this like a national emergency because it's been declared one. The initial wave of troops being deployed is 1,500. We talked about that, including 500 Marines at Camp Pendleton in San Diego, California. So, man, good fucking luck crossing the border. And again, if you get caught illegally in America, and they have to deport you, it's 25 years that you can't even attempt to come back into this country again. That's why you're seeing so many people mass deporting themselves, because they have hope of, we want to be able to come back to America. Let's try and do it the right way. I don't want to be banned from the country for 25 years. That's a long time. So the right stuff is happening right now. And also on this note, guys, I don't know if I have the slide in here or the post, but we saw that there were a bunch of polls done, CNN and just a bunch of these other sites. They were anywhere from 55 to 67% of Americans are for the mass deportation of illegal immigrants out of this country. That's a huge number. Bitcoin. I mean, if you look in is Bitcoin dropping, Jacob? That's a great question. I would say it's doing very little. And if you look over here, it actually wicked up in the bottom right corner. We're showing Bitcoin, and it actually, I mean, it doesn't look bad at all. I'd say again, I've said this already. Maybe you just jumped in, but I think that we're looking at people scared of the Japanese yen carry trade and taking a step back. Not your mom. Hey, Jesse, thoughts on Luca, Mirage Mogul, saying BTC will top soon? He's very accurate on timing. Yeah, he said that last week too, and then it went up a little bit more. He's going to be wrong. That's if you guys want to follow him and you think his timing's great. I think he called for Bitcoin to drop in like the 40s or 50s. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've seen it change a few times, but yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong. Show me some posts if I'm wrong. But I don't think that Bitcoin is topping anytime soon, and I don't think he has a good rationale for it. And I think he's trying to be bearish because he thinks it's the right move right now. And I get why he thinks it's the right move. I get that. We've done really well. We've got high PE valuations, all this stuff. We got a bunch of headwinds from us. You only hear all this negative shit on the news media all the time. Yeah, so Chicken Bro says Luca's been wrong on timings so many times. Yes, so perception is key, right? A lot of us are wrong on timings. You know, I thought the market was going to go up really quickly. It hasn't yet, but here's the deal. I think the direction is still up, and if it takes me a couple of days for that to be right, Luca's not bearish now. How is he not bearish when he just posted about the Japanese yen carry trade? Let me see here real quick. Let's read his. Let's not take it out of context. Let's pull it up and see if we can find it. I might just have to go to his page. There's two. Or I got to get better at searching. I need to get some AI shit up in here. I didn't know he deleted posts. That's good to know. I don't know if he does. I can't attest to that. Let's see. Recession ahead. First blow off top. Threat on yields, macroeconomic environment, and how I believe it'll impact the SPY and Bitcoin markets if you enjoy threads like this. So his last post was that we're getting ready to plummet. Recession ahead. First blow off top. Before the macro top hits, I expect a blow off top. Okay, so he still said blow off top now. That's good. BTC interesting divergence. So he is. You're right. He's looking bullish on that. Let's go down to the Japanese yen carry trade though and talk to that real quick. Let's see here real quick because I don't want to take it out of context. So let's pull it up. Is this it? Okay. So this is 19 hours ago. This is one of the most crucial threads on macroeconomic outlook and it impacts on all the markets. I'm covering the upcoming BOJ meeting and its potential effects. Check it out. Okay, so it's this thread. Let's go to it. Dude, like everything's shaking. First, let's see what a currency carry trade actually means. Okay, we don't need all that. Should we care? On Friday, we'll see the largest rate hike from the BOJ in almost 2 decades to 0.5% level. Rate hikes tighten the macroeconomic, blah, 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 blah. All right, why is this important? Well, the last time the BOJ raised rates at 0.5%, it led to a 38% correction in the USD-Japanese pair. Of course, there were other factors that affected the dollar, but nonetheless, it's an interesting confluence. I see nobody talking about this, yet I believe it's a very important event that we should be paying attention to. So looking at the historical correlation between this. SPX, the last 2 times, we've seen the Bank of Japan raising rates lead to aggressive sell-offs in the markets. So he does think that the Japanese carry trade is going to unwind still, but everything that I see shows that it already has and that this isn't a real narrative and that tonight will show that. But again, we'll see. We can come back to it later. Let's see what else he's saying here. Dow Jones, the last 2 times we've seen the Bank of Japan hiking rates, it also led to aggressive sell-offs. BTC, the last 2 times we've seen the BOJ raising rates, it led to aggressive sell-offs across everything because it was a liquidity crunch. And so everybody was switching to the US dollar. So yeah, that was a thing. Another factor supporting this will be a big shift in the upcoming days in the technical weakness that has been forming between the US dollar and the Japanese yen. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm not worried about this. This is kind of interesting, though. The technical divergence is cool. I like that. But that's good, though, right? That's good. We want that. We want the dollar to weaken against the Japanese yen. So at a glance, I don't know. It sounds like he believes in the melt-up theory. I do believe that changed over time, but I could be wrong. I do believe that he was, in previous posts, talking about Bitcoin going much lower, and then that changed to a melt-up theory. I believe. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys know him better than I do, throw something out there. I don't really follow it too much. All right. More stuff to talk about here. So DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, targets the penny problem. Why minting money? So we're spending 3 cents to make 1. What the fuck? Fix it. And again, the debt clock, guys, shows DOGE clock appears on U.S. debt clock website. It shows real-time U.S. savings. So we're going to have a clock now that's going to be able to show people on top of our weekly meetings where all the pods that are being sent out to destroy 80% of these government agencies, of the 500 NGOs and government agencies that exist that shouldn't exist. We're gonna be seeing weekly updates and spaces going over everything and talking about what they're doing and getting public opinion and all this stuff, and then at the same time and showing you the improvement that's being made. And we're going to see the Doge clock. This is going to be good stuff. People are going to like this. Why is Trump buying wrapped Bitcoin instead of Bitcoin? I don't know. I don't even care. I don't even care. So don't get me wrong. For my own custodying, I would get Bitcoin, right? Like I would get Bitcoin straight up personally. But like everybody who gets into crypto in the beginning, they seem to be mostly focused on shit coins. And I don't think that's any different than everybody else I've ever met. So maybe next cycle, Trump will be super into Bitcoin and preaching its praises and not talking about shit coins anymore. But I think he's looking for a pump in his shit coin first. And again, for tax reasons, apparently, chicken bro. Maybe, yeah, that could make sense too. I don't know. To me, it doesn't. I don't know what the tax reasons would be for wrapping Bitcoin though, because I mean, you still have a purchase and a sale, whether it's Bitcoin or not. John Mahoney, someone suggested there's a tax implication for using wrap BTC and may switch to BTC when I don't know what that would be. Yeah, I know it's integrated in the Ethereum network. It's wrapped. It's like a capsule, right? It's like the OSI model of how computer packets and traffic get across the world. You're just encapsulating it in another wrapper. But I don't know how that would help with taxes at all. I don't know if I agree with that theory. But again, Doge, cool stuff. Really excited about it. I think there's a lot of signal here. People should listen to signal and not noise. And yeah, I'm excited to see what's coming. All right, let's keep going though. Let's see here. We got support of the creation of Doge. So this is Vivek Ramaswamy, January 20th. I'm confident that Elon and team will succeed in streamlining the government. I have more to say very soon about my future plans in Ohio. Most importantly, we're all in to help President Trump make America great again. And he did talk about how he's running for governor, I believe. Not even one government building was found to be even half occupied. So we're paying for all these governmental spaces and nobody's there. So that's why the executive order is trying to pull people back in. And if they don't come in, then they can quit. And all that does is expedites Doge's job. Because if people, just like how we've made an incentive by turning off the app, by stopping the funding of illegal immigrants in the United States, by New York stopping that, the temporary housing and everything they're doing, by creating rules where you could get booted out and not be allowed entry back into the country for 25 years, you're creating an incentive structure that incentivizes people to get the fuck out. And this is no different. It's just with the federal government. And I think it's brilliant because these guys are going to be like, God, I'm not going back into the office. Fuck it. And then they'll quit. And it'll be like, oh, great. Now we don't have to pay you all the things we were going to pay you for the next 2 years for the rest of your department that we end up shutting down. So it's brilliant, and it forces them into the private sector, and then they got to get a job. A real job, one where they have to work. Teslarati, Elon Musk seems to be taking the lean Tesla SpaceX approach to Doge, which each Doge unit compared 4 people. Oh yeah, this is the one I was talking about. So the 4 people teams, I don't know that I showed this yet. Each Doge team will typically include 1 Doge team lead, 1 engineer, 1 human resources specialist, and 1 attorney. This is brilliant. So the engineer, too, is going to be like a software programmer. Just think about it that way, right? They're going to be the person who's trying to figure out what they can do, what products they might be able to integrate, how they might be able to take something that's got, I don't know, maybe 100 people doing it and automate it, maybe throw in some AI agents, do some things that are still going to be compliant with what they need, but engineer their way out of the clusterfuck that they're in. And the human resources person is just to say, bye. And then the team leads to make sure that they're communicating that and that it's working well with everything else that's going on in the government. And then the attorney's there to make sure they don't get sued. If they do get sued, handle it. I think all of this is just really great. I think Elon's going to crush it. He's going to crush it. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited about all this stuff, guys. Let me get back to chat. We got a lot of good things happening, I think. And let's look real quick here, too. So Bitcoin, it's above that volume shelf. We'll leave Trump coin in the bottom corner here, and we'll pull Bitcoin up to the big screen. So the thing I want to point out is we've got all this volume underneath of us. Can we drop down even further and go back to here and test around the 100K range just for good measure? Sure, it doesn't matter though, because we've tested it over here. We failed, broke down, got up to it, turned it into resistance, went up, got above it, failed, broke down, went above it, tested just a little bit, went above it. Haven't really had a full back test yet. This is on the daily time frame. So could Bitcoin drop down to 100K again and grind here for a little bit before curving higher? I think that's totally possible. Again, we haven't, on the daily time frame, we haven't really back tested the 100K range enough. We spent a lot of time underneath of it. Resistance over here, resistance over here, resistance here, resistance here, getting up above it for a sec, resistance, 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 getting up above a sec, resistance. And so again, this is our first time to really have that full back test. So I think the Japanese yen carry trade narrative is going to be good. I think maybe we'll drop a little bit today into this, or maybe we'll even just stop here and it'll grind here for a while. Again, this is some volume over here. This is volume over here. It could just stop right here, or I think worst case we go to 100K. I'm not worried about it. Only if the Japanese yen carry trade really falls apart are we going to have issues. And it looks like my bullish pennant is not playing out for the Doge. And again, the time frame's super low, so it's not really crazy that it's failing. But I do probably need to update it a little bit. Let's see here. I'll probably have to draw this down. And so that's our resistance line. And so again, we could drop down even further. We could stop here, or we could drop down further to here, or we could even flush underneath of it. I have this range down here before going higher. I mean, anything can happen, guys. Anything can happen. This thing could drop down into the 20s. It is possible. I can't tell you that it's not. I'll probably buy more. I'll probably buy more if it does. All right, let me put Bitcoin back over there again. And if you guys have other charts you want to pull up, we can talk about it, or topics that we want to talk about, we can talk about it. So let me know. Can we look at BITX and MSTX, brother? I don't look at those. I never look at those. I'm always going to look at the underlying asset. So I could pull up MicroStrategy. I never look at the multipliers because all you're going to get is noise. It's not even worth spending time on. You just can't chart it the same way. You should always use the underlying asset. So I look at Bitcoin first, then I look at MicroStrategy next, and that tells me what's going to happen with BITX or MSTR or MSTX. But I never look at the multi-leverage play. It's just the least cleanest version. It's where all the noise is at. Jesse, what is your thought on MSTY? Generates income by selling calls and puts. If you think you're going to be trade ranged for a long period of time, then that's a good one. So if you want to collect some kind of income and you think you're going to be trade ranged for a long time, then that's great. I don't think we're going to be very trade ranged. I mean, we might be, but I don't think we are. And so let's look at MSTR though. So MSTR failed right at that fib. So it got sucked down right away. So it stopped at the right time, right? It tried to get above it, couldn't hold it, broke back down. That's peak volume here on this time frame, going all the way back to August. It might even be, well, nope, I shouldn't say that. Down here, we have a little bit. So it's really like September. If we chop all of that off, that range, this recalculates. And so we stopped on peak volumes going all the way back to like September. How you use volume profile. It's called visible range volume profile. And if you have TradingView Premium, you have access to it. And I use it so that I can look for support and resistance zones based on where they are in price, not down at the bottom where you just see volumes going up and down. And I found it to be incredibly helpful. So again, we got rejected up here with the peak volume over the last 4 months. And now we're trying to test the 50. And this line right here, if we can stay above the 50 or above this range, then we might be okay. Otherwise, it could be bear flagging too. And we could test down one more time and maybe do a, W bottom, like a double bottom, just like a double top, but in reverse. I don't think it will, but it could. Everything can happen, man. Everything's just probabilities. 1,100 in the chat, only 260 likes. Well, that's a shame. Can we look at copper? It looks like it wants to move higher. Okay. Let's actually just go to the commodities section for that. I don't know that copper does want to move higher, but whatever. We can look at it. So that's energy. Let's go down here. We got copper right here. And let's just bring it out. I'll just look at it on this commodity chart. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm no copper expert. I think copper is maybe just a hedge, like a shitty version of silver that people are using. But I don't know why. It says Thursday reaching a 2-week low as concerns over new tariffs for President Trump sparked fears of global trade war, which could dampen demand for key resources like copper. So this is actually saying, hey, if the tariffs are too bad, it could actually dampen people's look at copper. Can you take a look at CleanSpark calls? Looks like it did not go up along with the stock. I don't know what you mean. I mean, there's no way for me to show you a time frame of CleanSpark calls. So, yeah, I don't know how I could do that. And here's the thing. Calls, guys, if you're in leaps, they're going to get excited when you have progress over a period of time. If you're just chopping up and down with CleanSpark, they're not going to go up. They're going to go down because the time base, you've got intrinsic and extrinsic value, right? Intrinsic value is, oh, hey, I'm saying it's going to go to this price, and if it goes above that, then I get all the difference between what I said it was at and then what it was actually at. So I make all that money. Extrinsic is time based. So if you're chopping, like let's just look at CleanSpark here. If you've been chopping and going lower since February, a year, you're not going to do really well on the options. Even if the stock goes up 1% one day, if it goes down 2 the next, and then back up another couple percent, you're not going to do well in the options. And I would argue that outside of us, again, finding support over here on the 200 moving average on the weekly time frame and having the 100 curving up, and I think it's going to break us up higher here soon. Again, it hasn't done good for a year. So I wouldn't expect to make a bunch of money off of options in that environment. And it's not a non-zero chance that the options for July of 2025 go poof. I've got $300,000 in them. They could just disappear, which is why I've been buying CleanSpark stock as well. I've got like, I don't know, 80,000 in that, just in case they do. Now, I don't think it's going to. I still think I'm going to make, $1, maybe $2 million off of them. But it doesn't look great right now. I believe it gets better in Q1 and Q2. Because if we get up to 125 or if we get up to 150 and Q1 ends or Q2 ends, not that that'll help these because these are July 18th of 2025. I mean, it might. You got a little bit of time, right, for reporting. And my strikes are 37, so it's got to climb a lot. But I do believe there's opportunity still here. It could go to zero. BGZ, appreciate the consistency, patience, and hard work. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for the $50. That's very kind of you. And thank you for not gifting memberships. Thank you for that, too. We're trying not to do that. Mucho Shekel says XRP may be in for a price pullback as CME's denial of futures indicate a lack of institutional demand on technical analysis indicates uptrend fatigue. I mean, just looking at XRP, it basically has one big spike every cycle, and then it fucking drops. So, and I don't love the size of XRP right now. It's already pumped a lot. And each cycle, there's the people who just believe that it's finally going to be their cycle, and so they just hold their bags. And then also each cycle, there's the people who just give the fuck up on it and dump their bags on other people once it goes up. But we're still looking at the same levels we saw in January of 2018. So if you think that's a good price, what is it? How many years is that, guys? January 2023, over 5 years. Almost 6 years, 6 years that we've been sitting here and chopping at the exact same price, and you've made no money on XRP. And it's a $180 billion cap. At least Trump coin. What is Trump coin? Trump coin is, let me see what the Trump coin market cap is here, guys. What's Trump coin? Which I consider about as valuable as XRP. At least Solana has tons of use, and we'll look at that in a second. But Trump coin has a market cap of what? It's like, I think it's 7 billion. Might even be less than that now. It might be in the sixes. So sixes for billions or 178 billion. Which one has the greatest upside asymmetric potential? ChatGPT down for several users and APIs today. Yep, that's funny. Jesse, could SAB 121 give miners a boost? Remind me. God, I should know what SAB 121 is, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I know I hear it all the time. And maybe it's just a massive brain fart on my part. Let me go over here. SAB, what is SAB 121. And I'm always going to be honest with you. If I can't remember something, I'm going to fucking tell you. Oh, the bell's coming up. Purpose, created to address the accounting disclosure implications for entities that hold crypto assets on behalf of... All right, we'll look at that in a second. Let's get to the bell. Let's get to the bell. We got to get to the bell. And then we'll come back to SAB 121 to make sure that I'm speaking about it intelligently and not like...
Price this thing at a level that just gets too high? I don't know.
And I got to get coffee in a second.
There's nothing in their way. How can they be...
And go to the bathroom.
Everybody else. How can they
ding,
still
ding, ding,
be so
ding,
far ahead? How is that possible? Don't the other guys have anything, any horse sense? Don't they know anything?
Yeah, I told you yesterday.
Some idea of what
Here, real
America
quick.
wants?
Guys, I sold ARGT yesterday, and in my post, I said why I did it. I said I used it to buy MicroStrategy and Tesla calls and things that were down like 10+% yesterday, because I'm willing to sacrifice my Argentinian fund, which again I think can only move, 5, 10%, maybe 20% over the next couple of months, and maybe even quarters, for something that can give me an asymmetric bet. That's why I did that, and I listed it in the post as well. Real quickly here, let's go to the watch list. I'm going to sort it and go to that. I'm going to let these yahoos talk for a bit, and then I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I'm also going to get something. I'm also going to get some coffee. So give me 1 second here, but I'll let these guys talk.
I mean, I don't know, since wagon
Be
train.
right back. Don't go anywhere.
True. No, and God forbid you should do the same thing for like 15, 20 years. I mean, that's terrible. Well, how much money do you make watching Wagon Train? I mean, ours is about making money. I don't know what theirs is about. By the way, they take so many shots at buying a long sports contract. Has anyone done that?
At the big board today, it is the United States Secret Service. At the NASDAQ, it's Hong Kong Pharma Digital Technology celebrating a recent IPO as we're back to 60.77. Jim, I want to get to some of Larry Fink's sound on Squawk this morning. Definitely. He did talk about, we're in this Fed blackout, not really having to deal with it ahead of the meeting next week. But he talked about scenarios in which the bond market might affect the stock market. Take a listen.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Okay. That being said, I have scenarios where it could be pretty bad. I believe if we could unlock all this private capital, we're going to have enormous growth. At the same time, some of this is going to create new inflationary pressures. Right. And I do believe that's probably the risk that is not factored into the markets. I think the bond market is going to tell us where we're going.
He said a trip above 5 would shock the market, he said.
Yeah, look, I found that Larry was not comforting. I do feel that we're going to get some debt issuance, and it could be some debt issuance too far. But at the same time, the kind of thing that Larry is investing in, David, is things that could give you a high return. And so you kind of, when you listen to him, you say to yourself, all right, I know what to do. I'll be in his infrastructure fund if they let individuals because I'll get a higher rate. Right. But I did not feel great. I did not feel as good as I did before when he was here, where he just talked about we're going to grow way out of deficit. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear it.
Well, he's, like many other market participants, certainly raising the prospect of higher inflation and therefore the impact that it could have. Again, we're back to waiting, and the two key ingredients, whether they be tariffs and deportations, remain sort of an unknown, although early signs suggest when it comes to the cracking down on illegal immigration and the immigrants here, illegal immigrants here, pretty dire circumstances being created very quickly, right, from what the various mandates the Trump administration has put into place at this point. But I don't know what that's going to mean longer term still for employment and for how many deportations really are going to take place, Jim.
Right. Well, I think that's the principal part of inflation, other than they have to get Medicare. They're not going to do anything with Social Security. But one of the things that I now think I'm going to predict on our show, which is that companies that are in the consumer business, with the exception of airlines right now, are going to have to roll back prices. I mean, I saw a downgrade of Boston Beer today.
I'm actually seeing some Trump coin getting some bounce over here. It looks like Bitcoin's getting bounced. We're almost near 104. Shocking. Jesse, we give another look at 4. Yeah, we can do that. We can look at a bunch of stocks. We'll probably do that right now. Let's look real quickly, though, and see what's happening across the board here. So it looks like I don't know, the Japanese carry trade discussion hasn't even come through yet, but it doesn't seem like the market gives a shit. Isn't that interesting? Cynthia Lummis said something happening at 10 a.m. today. Huh. Let me just real quickly see what she had to say. Anyway, back to SAB. Let's focus on that first. Then we'll look at Cynthia and go from there. SAB 121, our staff accounting bulletin number 121 is a bulletin issued by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission that provides guidance on how companies should account for and disclose obligations in regard. Oh, is this the old one in regard to the FASB accounting rules? Is that what we're talking about? I've been seeing this getting thrown around again. Purpose, SAB 121 was created to address the accounting and disclosure implications for entities that hold crypto and assets on behalf of their customers. God, I forgot what the number was. It aims to clarify how these entities should reflect such obligations. Key points. Yeah, so all this stuff does end up positively impacting these companies and the quarters ahead. A lot of the miners are already reporting this, but MicroStrategy hasn't been. So I think they're the ones that are probably going to see the most benefit from this on their quarterly statements. Real quickly, let me scroll down and get caught back up with chat. Cynthia Lummis. Looks like Cynthia Lummis. We could look at Apple, see if it reaches Fibonacci retracement level, and then watch for a trend. Yeah, Apple's going to be interesting. I don't love that stock right now. I need to just buy an $8,000 computer from them that I'm getting next week, but not super great otherwise. Let's see what Cynthia is talking about, though, real fast. I just want to see what that's about. I love this lady. She's like such a huge advocate. She's such a great person. Reminder, things about to get crazy. Huge thank you to the Wyoming National Guard. If Democrats drag their feet. Russ Vought is ready to help President Trump restore common sense and fiscal sanity to our federal government as OSMB director. Great idea. We should have a strategic Bitcoin reserve counter instead of a national debt counter. I like that, actually. That's great. Jimmy Song. Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in ages. I should probably follow him. He's kind of a goof, but whatever. I've had the pleasure of spending some time. I don't know. I wish we could show links better in this one. I don't know what's happening at 10. When we find out later, just tag me in a post. Palantir looking strong? Yeah, I think, you know what? Let me just look real quickly. Before we get too far, I want to go back to Palantir. So, again, Dan Ives raised his price target on it. I'm very impressed with the company. Just everybody in it. Shouldn't have left as quickly as I did. So that's on me, though. Nobody's perfect. You seem to be on the wrong profile. Oh, maybe. Palantir, she's probably got a congressional one and her personal one. So Dan Ives raised the target to 90, growing confidence in the company's AI strategy. Will U.S. commercial market make it? So again, this is from 75 to 90. That's a nice little increase. And it says, Palantir mentioned by Rio Tinto CEO. With Palantir, we're learning to extract the right data and using it in a structured way that enables to simply run the mine much better. I was also watching a video, I think it was Palantir Bite Size, that was talking about how they're invested in a company that's basically using drones without GPS, or I don't know if Palantir's a part of this integration, like if it's their software helping run it, but they're trying to not use GPS in case it ends up going down. And so that way they still have this like hive of people that are mapping out, or drones that are mapping out their location and able to still operate if something like GPS went out, which I think is fascinating. Red Cat Holdings has secured $500,000 in new orders for 12 Edge 130 drones from the Army National Guard and another U.S. government agency. We're going to be seeing so much of that kind of stuff, I think. Jesse, why did Bitcoin just pop? I don't know. I don't know. But it doesn't matter, right? Like I said this morning, hey, this thing can drop down, but look at how it's climbing the volume shelf. I mean, we can just move this over right to here, right? Look at this. It's like a fucking puzzle piece. Or let me put this in the main screen so it's easier to see. This is like a puzzle piece. It's beautiful. Like, look at this. Look at this. Look at how perfectly this fits. You got above the volume shelf, you rode the volume shelf, you broke above the volume shelf, you're riding the volume shelf, you're bouncing higher, you're getting up to this next volume shelf. Eventually, you got the 107 range, and you establish up here in this range. If you establish a base and the price stays here for a while, you've got nothing above you holding you back from a technical standpoint, and you've got 20% upside before we start to hit any kind of trend line resistance. So I don't know what brought it up. I mean, I think maybe people are realizing that the Japanese yen carry trade that Luke is talking about is not a big deal because it already unwound. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's something else. I really don't give a shit. I think the same thing that I've been preaching for a while. And again, if we look down in the bottom here for Trump coin, I'll pull that temporarily up here. It might look weird on the bottom screen. I don't even know what that's going to look like. Lummis said big things are coming with the BTC symbol. Stay tuned for 10 a.m. Is that 10 a.m. Central? Is that 10 a.m. Central? And tag me, guys, if you have that post on X, can you tag me to the post on X? But again here, so now we're already up to $37, and I'm up probably $12,000 or something on my positioning with Trump coin still, even though one guy, what was his name? Deep Value 47, like some Palantir prick from the way back. I don't remember if he's the same one that was showing his cock on Twitter, but that guy, I'm talking shit about me again. And it's like, dude, I'm up on this position and you're going to talk shit about me. You are tagged? Okay, I'll take a look. But yeah, so Trump coin's looking good. Bitcoin's looking good. And maybe it's about this announcement. Maybe it's something else. I really don't care. The price is going up. And so I think that's the thing that needs to be emphasized over and over again is we know the direction. We know the direction. And imagine what happens today, guys, if this is the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. Imagine what happens today. Let's try and find this post. Let's see where it's at. Let's look at notifications. Okay, wow, a bunch of you guys tag at me, so maybe this is the stuff. You guys are awesome. God, you guys are awesome. You guys are so great. I'm the person who gets the luxury of having this channel and being able to talk to you guys every day, but you guys are so great. Like, at just supporting my work and helping guide me on the things that I'm wrong on, and just, you guys are fucking great. Thank you, Moaning Mule. I appreciate you, and everybody else that, yeah, you guys, Casper's up in here, Mike's up in here, Ball, all the good ones, all the good guys. Look at you guys, man. Fucking A. Thank you, guys. Oh my God, guys. You guys are awesome. Just like cluttered up my feed with all of it. Thank you, guys. You are the best, Jesse. In 19 minutes. Okay, that's so 19 minutes is, oh fuck, we're sticking around for that. Okay, that's going to be fun. All right, this should be interesting. Let's see what happens in 19 minutes. I'm going to check some of these other links just to see if you guys are providing any other sources. Big things are coming. Oh my God, is this it? Is this it? This is why Bitcoin's pumping. You guys are fucking spot on. This is it. This is it. Look at that. Oh, that's, yeah. This is exactly why Bitcoin's pumping. Huh. I gotta get to, it's still so dry where I live right now. Dude, she's posted this a shit ton of times. This is a thing right here, guys. She's just been spam posting. This is not like a Dennis Porter post where he's talking about the 1 millionth time that somebody's talked about a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Like, and don't get me wrong, Cynthia's done that too. But this is like the real deal. Fuck, what's gonna happen? Oh yeah, and the Lake and Riley Act guys passed too. Again, it's just gonna make it to where we don't have to worry about our citizens getting murdered. It looks like RCAT's probably exploding. While we're waiting here, I'm just going to go back over. We really didn't get a proper look at the portfolio and see where things are going. Move index plummeting today. Micron, wish I would have sold that one yesterday, down 4%. Did I sell ASML? So all the things, I should have sold all my chips yesterday. MSTX up today, 3.35. Riot up today. MSTU, MSTR. Palantir up 1%. ARB, thank you for the $2 to Bitcoin rules as well. Bitcoin up. Shanghai Composite up a little bit. Iron up. U.S. oil up 0.57%. Now we're worried about that. We can look at that in a little bit, but I don't think that's really going anywhere. This is fascinating, guys. What is going to happen today? And let me switch. I'm going to switch real quickly. Why isn't it showing? Oh, it just stuck with Trump coin. Is it stuck on Trump coin? Here, let me real quickly. I'm going to fix my stock thing to where it comes up with Bitcoin. I broke it when I moved stuff around. So let's put this back. Boom. So Bitcoin, again, looking fine. She's looking hot today. dude, you guys want to bet how quickly this thing could go to the 120s? It doesn't have to happen. If this is not the strategic Bitcoin reserve, we could come down real hard because people are getting excited, right? If this is a Bitcoin strategic reserve, shit's going to get weird. Yeah. We're seeing a bounce too in Trump coin. I think Trump coin and Bitcoin could just fucking explode if this is actually a Bitcoin strategic reserve that we're going to be talking about in a second. Or even if it's a state that actually passed a bill for a Bitcoin strategic reserve, that would explode us higher too. It would all get crazy. Let me just move this over where you can see the ticker on price too. There we go. All right, so we got our potential range over here, guys, and we got where we're at. That should be a real key indicator of what's going on and if we've gotten any new news. 110,000 Bitcoin today. It could. If this is the real deal, guys, it could be 120 today. You could see your first like God candle if you're new to this. We could God candle this shit 20%. I still think Samson Mao is right that we're going to see an Omega candle. I'm overhyping it. They need to calm down with the breaking new legislation. Oh yeah. If it's not, see the new legislation posts when all they're talking about is like you're putting up legislation. That doesn't mean as much. I totally agree with that. But if this is actually hey, we're doing a Bitcoin reserve in the United States, then they're not overhyping it enough. We could see 125. Yeah, no, I saw that, Sean. Thank you. And then if it's a state, like, yeah, we're going past 110. So if it's actually like we've implemented a strategic reserve, that's different than just putting a bunch of them up there. Bitcoin wants to go higher, though, man. Look at that, 105.4 now. This is looking beautiful. Dude, a Bitcoin reserve will run us to 100. Oh, super quick, Adam. Yeah, Palantir 3030, super quick, bro. Super quick. MB, wouldn't it be hilarious if the announcement is about XRP? Yeah. if it was Donald Trump's shitcoin group, then yes, I could see that. But it's Cynthia Lummis. She don't give a fuck about XRP. The fact that she's talking about this, I think, is pretty monumental. Micro to macro. Call waiter, Nazi, call taxi, pet children, pet dog. I don't know what that means, but it sounds funny. Pedoland. What are we getting into, guys? What is happening? Pedoland. UK to Trump. It's still the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, yeah. Fuck them. Yeah. Pedoland. Now I get it. Hood chart next, please. Yeah, we'll do that. It's all on Bitcoin right now, though, guys. We got 3 minutes, or what is it? 13 minutes. 13 minutes until the announcement. I guess I could go to other stuff. Cantonese Cat just replied to Luca. About what? About Bitcoin or something? All right, I'm just going to resort here. I want to see how things are doing. MSTX looking hot. Riot up almost 6%. Iron up almost 3.6%. I heard something about Wolf being one of the companies that's going to help with AI stuff. I don't know anything about it. I don't really pay attention to Wolf. I have a lot of questions about the BOJ rate hike and how it could crash. It's not going to. I want to remind you of the things that we've survived through over the last 5 years. Economic completely shut down. Yeah, dude, I'm not worried about the Bank of Japan rate hike at all. If they hike, you know what's going to happen? We've already got swap lines set up with them. We've already been talking to them to buy our bonds so that we can get rates down. We have the mortgage-backed securities, the MBS, that are probably going to get sold off. We're going to dump Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac out of conservatorship and put it back in the private markets. And then we're going to use the extra money to buy back our own bonds probably, and then also force Europe into defense bonds. And then also we've got the Bank of Japan that's going to buy more of our bonds. We don't give a shit about any of this. And the risk is already priced in. 100% agree. When you look, there's an article from Bloomberg. I didn't post it because it's really technical and most people aren't going to understand anything about it. But essentially talking about how this is also played out on top of other things that I've posted recently. I do not care. That was a part of Cat's response to Luca. Which part was? Here, let me go back. Let's look at Cantonese Cat. I love that guy. He's a good dude. I love his videos too. He has this little song. I think he plays a ukulele on his YouTube videos, and he really messes with this. Oh, let me see. Is this him talking?
My X subscription and my YouTube membership. I have 2 places that you can potentially support me at. You don't have to support me at all, but if you want to, you can.
He's such a good guy. If you don't follow Cantonese Cat, you should. He does a really good job with, what is it, the Fibonacci fans and stuff like that. He's just a good dude. He said, great read. This isn't going to play out. It's just not. Being fearful in the market is understandable. I'm also scared. What if it goes to the upside? I'm left behind. Jesse, Jake, Cat, Maestro, Freedom by 40 have replaced me, Kevin. Yeah, and you know what? You get differing views from us, too. And I like Luca, actually. He pissed me off one time because he called me out about something, but then I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, it's probably not that bad. Yeah, we hit 106, guys. Wow. Cynthia drops a meme coin. Yeah, we'll buy into Lummis. I'll dump all my Trump coin and buy into Lummis. Lummis coin. she's not as shitty about that as Trump's team is. And here's the thing. I actually had no problem with Trump coin, and I think it's going to do really well. But Melania coin, like, for real, what the fuck? Is this like extra purse money for her to go out and buy a yacht? Like, why the fuck was that needed? And who advised that? Did she just see Trump making a bunch of money? And she's like, guys, what about me? And they're like, okay, there we go. It's out. Melania coin. Like, why do that? And we don't need a Barron coin, please, to fucking God, so that I can make some money off my Trump coin. Please don't do Melania coin and or push Melania coin anymore, or push Barron coin. I don't need any of that. I want to make my money. And if I lose it, whatever. Some fun gambling. Former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard says there is value in the U.S. having its own. Yeah, that's old, but I totally agree. Totally agree. I love Cantonese Cat, though. He's so cool. He's a good dude. And again, we got differing views. I like Luca. I like Cantonese Cat. I like a bunch of these people. I'm not doing a Jesse coin. And if I do that, you guys can call me out about the hypocrisy later on. Okay? You can do it. Trump and Lummis should make a love child. I think Melania is a little hotter than Lummis, but I love Lummis. She's good. She's a good person. MB, they had a full pipeline of Trump's family coins. I guess Melania was a test, was luckily failed and saved us from the rest. Did they really? God, they should have went with Barron. He could have got the younger demographic. Man Mahindra, the funny part was that coin was coded in 24. I know, I was making a joke, but I figured that's probably what had happened. Rumors of a huge Bitcoin announcement in 8 minutes. That's what I'm hearing, bro. 7 minutes now. We're hanging out with the Lummis. If anybody has a better source for anything that's going on, please let me know, and we'll jump over to it. But for now, we're just hanging out with the Lummis. We're just going to hang out with the Lummis and see what's going on. If nothing else, I'm going to jump over here and see if we have anything else. What was that with Tom Lee? Looking forward to this webinar. 21 hours. When does this webinar start? At 11 Eastern. That's 10 a.m. today. But you're saying this other one's at 9 a.m. Central Time, right? Okay. I should share this out. Tom's my boy. I love this man. Jesse Coin probably does exist, but it is not affiliated with me. Do we really have over 1,232 people here? Shit. Thanks, guys. I love you, man. You the shit. Oh, that was the 28th. Good call. How many radical leftists does it take to screw in a light bulb? Radical leftists. That's not funny. Me, laugh. Oh, I love this man. Jake says, wow, amazing how much noise is canceled out when only verified accounts can comment. Dude, for reals. I should do that. I need to start remembering that. I announce every day that I'm doing the market open now, but I'm announcing it to everybody. But I should still make this post. I should make it to where the only people to reply are verified users. But I don't know if I'm losing any of you guys. I should do that. I should at least do it for this. Can I make the visibility? I should be able to make the visibility for everybody, but only people that can talk or verified users. Because I think I still have scammers in here. I don't see them every day, but I do see them like, hey, go to my private Discord. And it's not my private Discord, guys. It is not. Okay? So I probably need to do that. I need to not be lazy and make sure that I do that so that people aren't getting fucked. Jesse, my wife and I are both on here. Shout outs from Texas. Awesome, man. Tell your wife hi and hello to you. I'm going to just repost this here so that people see it. Maybe come in here. Did that not work? That repost? You can look at the replies to subscribers only. Yeah, see, I should do that. That'll keep the bots aren't going to pay me $5 a month. They're not. I just know it. So I feel like I need to do that. That will help. So if I'm doing YouTube only until X fixes their shit, then I'll do YouTube only for the video, and then only members can reply, and we're not gifting memberships anymore. And then on X, I'll make it to where only subscribers can reply back. On all my posts. I should, except for retweets. There's no way to do that, I don't think. SBR announcement rumor for 10. I think BS. Maybe. But if it isn't, here's the thing. You just don't want to, I just posted this on Cantonese Cat, right? Like, during the bull, 10 days are the best days out of 365. And if you think you can beat those odds, more power to you. I think that's fucking stupid. I would not, again, right here, guys. 10 days are the majority of the gains out of 365. Why fuck with that? Why fuck with that? Mama Coin release at 10. Sweet. Good to know. Yes. Thank you. Mama Coin. Coins at 300. I'm not verified, but I'm subscribed. Yeah, subscribe makes more sense, I think, because not everybody's going to be verified on X. Because really, verification gives you the benefit of like increasing your audience and removing ads and getting access to Grok if you have the right subscription. But outside of that, is it really worth it for like somebody who doesn't give a shit about growing their profile? Maybe not. And so if you don't care about ads and other stuff. So yeah, we'll do sub. Imagine if Lummis does her own coin. Shut up. She's not. Do you have SMCI position? I do. Is it doing anything? Is it going up for a change? Let me see here. Market open for 30 minutes now. Let me refresh and see if that's happening. You know what's funny? I made money yesterday. I was down almost $400,000, and I actually ended up like $20,000 in green yesterday. And now today I'm in profit too. It's funny. It's worth it just for Grok. For Grok and getting rid of ads, it's a no-brainer. And with Grok 3 coming, like, why the fuck would you pay for ChatGPT? I think ChatGPT I think OpenAI is going to go bankrupt. That is not a popular belief, but I believe that's what's going to happen. And it will be popular once everybody realizes it's going to happen. Then they'll be like, oh, shit. Why did I think so heavily of Sam Altman, the murderer? I'm a subscriber to Jesse because Jesse rocks and kicks arse. Thank you, Victor. You too, bro. Is it Lummis Coin? Lummis Coin announced. No, I'm kidding. Fake news. Fraudulent behavior is cause for termination. DEI federal agencies rebranding DEI are committing fraud against the United States. They should be identified, fired. It looks like Border Patrol is hiding DEI under special emphasis programs. Yep. Get rid of it. 100%, brother. You think it'll be about, what about SAB 121, Chicken Bro? I mean, what about it? What do you think? Give me your thoughts. All right, let me see. We're going to put this under Trump. Trump. I can't be subbed everywhere, so either sub in X or sub here. Cash poor, shares rich. Laughing my ass off. Up to you, man. I look at it this way. If nothing else, I'm giving you guys on a daily basis the thesis behind FS Insights. I'm not giving you all their work, but I'm giving you the thesis. And I've actually got almost 50 people that have subbed to FS Insights. But that's a $250 subscription. And so if you're subbed on X and you're subbed on YouTube, that's $7 a month right now. and you have the ability to talk on here, and then you have the ability to see all my subscriber-only posts too, which include my trades and everything else. And then again, there's the Discord where you get all my charts. I don't know. I think that's pretty good considering with just one subscription, I'm giving you guys $250 worth of information. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, no, I figured it wasn't. Alexander. 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. We got to figure out what's going on, guys. If you guys find a link, tag me right away, okay? I'm going to look here. I'm going to look under Cynthia's, but if you guys see anything else, tag me right away, and then I'll pull it up. Yeah, I think it's amazing value too. I do. Because again, you don't have to pay $250 for a subscription if you can't afford it, even though I do think there's so much more in there that I don't talk about. So it's not like I'm telling people not to subscribe, because it's well worth it. It's my favorite subscription. Yeah, so we've hit the time. Epic dump incoming. Okay. Maybe. But I don't care either way. I don't give a shit. I'll just leverage into stuff more, if that is in fact the case. If it's not the case, and we end up having a strategic reserve, kick ass. I don't know if I'm seeing anything yet. Matt Schultz posted. Okay, tag me. Tag me if you got something, guys, and I'll pull it up right away. I'm so cheap. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says he wants the SEC to approve tokenization of bonds and stocks. I love that. I don't see any tags, yo. No tagging. Tag me if you got something. So far, we're still sitting at 105, just hanging out now. Get Bitcoin's prices meandering right now because they're like, guys, where's the announcement? Nobody got an announcement. It's 9:00. The market's like, it's been a minute and 20 seconds. There's nothing. Cynthia lied to us. Dennis Porter doing a live on X about it. Oh, okay. All right. Let's Dennis Porter this shit. All right. This could be a nothing burger then. I actually do like Dennis. I like him and Fred in their own ways, but they both annoy the shit out of me. And I never did unsub to this guy. What if there's a fire? I don't know. It's a great honor to receive a pin. Cool, bro. You said there's an X. Is there a space? Like, is there a stream right now? I don't see it. I don't see anything on here showing a stream from Porter. You're watching Cynthia Lummis. If you guys have anything, tag me. Oh, hey, there is a spaces. Let's go to it. We got Brian Krasinski.
Yeah, so I think it's smart to assume that there could be a variety of different big Bitcoin announcements here. Obviously,
he does
the
post a lot of
executive
noise,
order being the biggest possible
He's just
announcement.
Cheerleading.
But there's other ways that she could be making announcements here, including the reintroduction of her legislation.
We got Mario, we got
she's gonna be
Wolf,
needing
we
to
got Porter, we got
reintroduce her legislation in
this
the new
dipshit.
Congress. And also, there's an opportunity for her to potentially pick up co-sponsors here. So I know that finding a co-sponsor for this legislation has been critical for her and her team. You know, I sat down with Senator Lummis in Washington, D.C. We were together for roughly an hour.
Dennis does know what's going on, though. He's got the
interview, and then, you know, on the bookends, 5 minutes, 10 minutes on the front in the beginning. We had quite an opportunity to talk.
Matt,
and share our viewpoints on the importance of a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and also talk about the importance of the work happening at the federal level and the state level. So in my opinion, I would say that, you know, clearly the idea of a strategic Bitcoin reserve executive order here is the most exciting potential announcement that could take place. But there are a variety of other announcements that could take place. I think
I agree.
The most obvious one being the reintroduction of the legislation or a co-sponsor for that legislation as well.
Let me find that.
That would be. I mean, listen, big things are coming with the Bitcoin B logo is out of character for her, right? I mean, she's not exactly like the type to go fully hyperbolic and, you know, tease announcements of announcements. So you have to imagine that this is, whatever it is significant, because she would understand that anything that was like a small announcement after tweeting something like that would be a letdown, right? I mean, if you look, which is crazy, you know, charts always seem to align with the market.
She's really good about
but
that.
Bitcoin basically pumped from 101,000, sub 102 certainly, to over 105 in, you know, 35, 40 minutes.
She's not a pumper.
Really on this announcement.
Oh, you tagged me? Okay,
right. And so
thanks.
There's an expectation here that this is going to be something really, really meaningful, right? Awesome. Our team is amazing, by the way.
100%
Getting
agree with
guests
you.
and doing this. Yeah, it's got like she knows better than to like tease something like that and then it's a nothing.
What
burger,
is that
right?
about?
So my assumption, knowing her as
What the
well
fuck?
and having dealt with her, is that she understands what's doing. And there is this expectation that something big is coming regardless of her tweet, right? I mean, everybody's been holding their breath daily.
Oh, she didn't say the time zone, so it's another hour.
That could be a catalyst for the next move here. We have Ron Hammond here, our team, guys. Amazing getting this panel up here so quickly. All credit to the team. Who's the Senior Director of Government Relations and Institutional Engagement at Blockchain Association. That means this dude's lobbying his ass off for us. So, Ron, do you have any intel on what this might be, what this might look like?
I'm going to wait and see what the official announcement is. I mean, there's been a couple things that their staff has been teasing.
Wow, so this ties in with CleanSpark
we'll wait and
in
see.
some way?
My first inclination was more the executive orders.
That could help those options.
The senator has been in touch, obviously, with Bo Hines and David Sachs over there, as well as the rest of the Trump team. So, I'm
guys.
hearing rumors that we'll get the EO. It could be this, but I guess we'll see, hopefully momentarily, because that was quite the tease at the last second.
Is it the wrong time zone?
In a very specific time, 10 a.m.
Do you know if that's 10 a.m. Eastern or 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Wyoming time?
figure that out.
It'd be Eastern. They're in D.C.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
That was my first thought, Brian, was damn it. we have to talk for 2 hours.
All right, I got to pee again. One sec, guys.
One second. So, I mean, the kind of...
I'm getting chills, too.
I think here, in my opinion, anything short of an executive order would be a disappointment. Is that a fair assessment, or what do you guys think? Dan, you're giving me the 100. Do you think so?
Yeah, as you say, she knows what she's doing. This is not her first rodeo. Something this big at this level, yeah. She also doesn't have form for doing this. It's not like she constantly does this, right? So I agree, and I agree with the previous speaker. I think this is the EO related. That's based on absolutely nothing, just my gut feel, but that's what I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, go ahead. Steve, can you guys hear Steve? I can't. I don't know if it's a glitch.
I can't hear him.
No, can't hear him.
Okay, Steve, your mic's not working, so I'm gonna knock you down. Guys,
Sufficient space. I can't wait for my new computer.
Come back in. We'll invite you back up.
Fucking hate this shit.
Brian, yeah, you obviously were agreeing with me. Anything short of an executive order here would probably be a letdown on an announcement like this.
Yeah. I mean, from a price standpoint, where are we at? Like 106,000 or so, 105.3. I think that if you got anything but an executive order, you're going to see it dip. If you get an executive order, it's definitely going higher. I think.
Can you imagine if it got the executive order and it went down? Wouldn't that be the funniest scenario for Bitcoin price action and the most unpredictable / predictable thing that could possibly go down? That would be hilarious. Go ahead, Rod.
One thing I will flag, and this could be related to the timing here. So the Senate Bank Committee is having their first kind of organizational hearing. It's kind of just the kickstart to the next 2 years for the Congress. And this is, at least in some way, she's the major announcement that she's going to be leading the first digital asset subcommittee. So that could be partly
10 a.m.
here.
Central.
She might be saying other things of like what the priorities are for her subcommittee or what legislation she wants to focus on. So that could also be one thing as well as in the realm of possible options here, because that's going on right now.
Yeah, but we don't know Trump isn't there.
Yeah,
but you're right. It could be. It might not be. You're right, Mahindra. But if it's tied with CleanSpark.
Yeah, so you can hear me now, right?
Yeah, so, Steve, go ahead then, Dennis. Go ahead, Steve. We hear you.
Yeah, I was just going to say I wouldn't necessarily expect a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I think it's going to be a strategic crypto reserve. I'd
be okay with that.
If you look at what's been happening with the Freedom DeFi
I'd be okay
organization
with that.
And what they've been buying, and everybody says, well, no, that's separate, but it's kind of this,
how do I mute this shit?
It's still relevant.
Let's do it this way.
It's very heavy on ETH. It's wrapped Bitcoin.
Yes. So I want to real quickly. So Bitcoin price pumped, went back down. It doesn't matter. It's still up like thousands from where it was at. Don't worry about that. It's literally, it's people's impatience. They were told they were getting an announcement 9 minutes ago and they don't have it yet. And that's all people care about. So since we're not getting the announcement, it's dumping and they're waiting for the announcement. I wouldn't focus so much on that. I don't think that matters. And I do agree with whoever's speaking here, Stephen McClurg. that this might be a strategic crypto reserve with a heavy focus on Bitcoin. I don't think it'll have like their current positioning in the World Liberty Fund or whatever that Trump owns. Their positioning is less Bitcoin and more Ethereum. I don't think their strategic reserve would look anything like that. So I think that would be different completely. And again, it's wild that we're seeing right now a post from Matthew Schultz from CleanSpark talking about this in Cynthia Lummis. It says, my home state of Wyoming was the first state to incorporate women's suffrage, the first state to allow women to vote, the first state to allow women to hold office. I don't know why this is all about women. It says now, maybe it's just, I don't know, they're innovators. Now the most senior senator from my state, Cynthia Lummis, is on the tip of the spear with Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining. She's been a huge advocate for us in CleanSpark, rapidly growing full immersion Bitcoin mining sites in Cheyenne. Watch what happens when Wyoming again becomes the first. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is Cynthia Lummis going to be the head of this crypto count? I don't know. I don't know. But everybody's incredibly impatient trying to figure it out. Let's go back and listen to what these guys are having to say. And if you guys see anything new, tag me in the post and tell me in here, and we'll pull it up.
It's not the biggest possible announcement that we can
Wouldn't that be
receive here.
cool?
I am also just going to say,
I'd take a Wyoming Bitcoin purchase, dude.
The odds of what this EO would look like if it were to be in the executive order. I'm really curious to see what type of language.
I don't think it would be crazy at all. Maybe not the Bitcoin purchase, or probably both. But I could see Wyoming, with Cynthia Lummis at the helm, being the first state to announce a strategic reserve. I don't know what their bills look like in the last couple of weeks, if they had some that were outstanding that they were going to be voting on. But I could totally, or yeah, chair of digital assets subcommittee. Is that what's happened? Is that what's happened? Yeah, I could see something like that too. I could see her being the head of it, being the first, because he was talking about women, right? First woman to vote, first woman to this, first woman to this, first woman to this. It wouldn't surprise me at all if she's like the head of the committee. But I would also love to hear about a state strategic reserve. That would be great as well. Either one of those would be very positive for the industry. This is exciting times, guys. Let's get back to these guys.
Made, and it's the words that he used.
Exactly.
He made the promise. He never promised to buy Bitcoin. He only promised to.
Thank you to the 1,400 people that are here.
That the U.S. government currently holds. Those are his words. That's a direct quote. And so I would love to hear what other people are thinking. Maybe even Ron, if he's heard.
Tweets were removed.
What's going on in D.C. given his position there. Ron,
no,
I just
that's
missed
the
you.
worst.
I saw you while I was
go back.
PGP breakfast. I saw you on the TV screen, but I missed you in person.
Yeah, I'm back down in Miami. I got to a couple events.
Let me go back in here and see if I can find the tweets.
I'm down at a conference here today as well. So it got me all over. But yeah, back on the EO for the reserve, I'm hearing a lot more of that on the rumor side. But again, to your point, a lot of people are confusing that with like the government actually going out and actively buying Bitcoin. That largely, and most circles believe, requires legislation.
Come on, Cynthia, don't pump and dump us,
and so
Cynthia.
that's where like Lummis's bill comes into play.
Don't pump and dump us.
Just like an executive order, we can see more of a stockpile, or maybe they're going to make a sovereign wealth fund or something to that extent. But it does seem like from all sources of indication, there's going to be something related to that. But we would try to warn folks in the market here. It does, in the very, very likely not the case that they're going to be able to go out and buy, millions and billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Like that doesn't seem
right. But how big of it, so
they weren't deleted.
There's
okay,
there's
good.
a lot of nuance there. So if they announce an
Fun
executive
times,
order
guys.
right now, I think we all agree. Like that says strategic Bitcoin reserve. If that's the news, it would be.
It's
flying.
West Coast.
We're going to see things.
Are you serious? Do we know that for sure?
Kind of the best case.
Because she's
scenario.
in
But
DC.
If we're seeing, Lummis
right
basically forming a committee, an announcement of that, we know that it remains a priority.
So why would it be
Doesn't
West
that
Coast
mean
time?
That, the priority would most likely be her version of it, which is actually buying and not just stockpiling what exists. And I guess then the next part of that is what's going to exist if Bitfinex gets ownership of the tokens that were there in the first place, and those Bitcoin end up back in Bitfinex's
Senate Banking Committee is set to vote at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Sub 200,000.
Markup Cynthia Lummis becoming chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee. Where do you have a post about that? Guys, do you have posts about this stuff?
So, yeah, I spent a lot of time in DC with the Lummis team just now, and I was texting with some of them. So I will say that there's it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But I'm excited
It's not
for the
dumping
announcement
the
to come
markets.
out
We're still
and
up.
looking forward to supporting the sort of end result here.
I don't know what I think we have sort of an announcement because Bitcoin.com. I'm not quite sure, but this is coming from Fox Reporter. I'm going to try to pin it while we're also talking.
But she's in DC. Why would we care about Mountain Time?
Senator Lummis as Digital Asset Committee Chair.
Yeah, okay, that's probably
That's what I'm seeing. So kind of, I don't know how deep that goes. It's a pretty big announcement for her.
Can you guys tag me in that post?
But that's not exactly an executive order.
The price of Bitcoin's back down to pretty much where it was before she tweeted.
Yeah, I gave her
No,
a
it's
little too much
not.
credit
It's still higher.
for something that would be a huge announcement. Man,
This could still be
that
good.
dumped it right back down to 100,500.
God, people
listen,
are so
I don't know
impatient.
If that even is, but it seems like that would be her announcement. Watch for 10 a.m. As you guys can see, I thought I pinned it. We're having trouble getting something up into the nest. Let me see. Hopefully it works.
So I can talk about.
Yeah, there you can see.
All right, so here's my take so far, guys. If she's becoming the head of the Senate subcommittee, that's great. And maybe she has an announcement that goes along with it, okay? I doubt the announcement is just that she's become the head of the subcommittee. She'll say what she's going to do and her path forward and all that stuff. So don't freak out. Jesse, the people in the chat are having fun with you and know exactly what time it is. Okay, great. Thanks, guys. It's nothing better than just having tons of information that provides no value in chat. Thank you for that. If we dip on the news, I'm definitely a buyer. Lummis, oh, me too, dude. Totally, 100%. But if she becomes the chair of the Digital Asset Subcommittee, that's beautiful too. All right, so that does appear the same post. It looks like a few people have posted it. If we dump, we buy. That's totally the play. That's what I'm doing. From Eleanor Tourette says that. Her state is pro-crypto, ? Is that a question? She's probably one of the leading advocates for Bitcoin out of anybody in any state. So yes, anybody in government in any state. So yeah, it's a big deal if she becomes it. It's a big deal. 10 a.m. Cynthia Lummis becoming chair of the Digital Asset Subcommittee. Unclear if there's anything else that will be announced. I think there'll be more. Oh, there you go. And that's actually from Eleanor. That's a good one. We're going to retweet that one. That one's better. So, yeah, this is and I'm sure more will get announced with it. I doubt that's the only thing. She's not going to be like, guys, stay tuned. 10 a.m. Big stuff happening. I got a promotion. I don't think that's the focus. No, this is the Senate. No, it's the Senate Banking Committee. That's not local to Wyoming. That's the Senate. This is not a local thing. This means that she would basically be the head. That she would be the head of this. This is a good thing. Saylor to become Treasury Secretary. That's not happening. We've already got a Treasury Secretary that kicks ass, and it would be way better than Michael Saylor. His name's Scott Bessent. So we don't need that. But again, guys, just extract the noise for a little bit. Be excited by the fact that we've got this announcement coming up. And whether the market pumps right away or not, it's fucking irrelevant. If Cynthia Lummis is the head of this stuff, that is such a change from who we had. You guys want to see who the Senate previous head of the Senate? I probably shouldn't type previous head. That could bring up all kinds of stuff. Senate Banking Committee. Let's see who was in here before, shall we? Let's see. Senator Chairman Scott, biography, overhauling Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. This isn't helping me. I don't think it's him. I thought it was that one bitch, that old black lady. What's her name? I could be wrong. Ask Grok. That's probably what I should do. Boom. Let me know if you guys get any new news. Previous head of Senate Banking Committee. Close enough. All right. Sherrod Brown. All right, cool. Senator Sherrod Brown. So he's actually better. Maybe it was the House I was thinking of, or it might be a different group. Maxine Waters. I hate her so much. What was her position? Was it that? U.S. House Committee. She was U.S. House of Financial Services. Whatever. It's close. She was a complete fucking moron. She was horrendous. Horrendous. Let's see if we got anything else over here. We'll just go back to this.
Where they're at and all the obligations that they have and all the spending that they need to do just to fix infrastructure and stuff like that. I don't see them allocating any more money to buying Bitcoin. I just see them potentially holding all the Bitcoin that they've got, right? So I think we dodged a bullet. I think the Department of Justice hasn't.
All right, I've heard this a lot, but Young says, with so much dilution in MicroStrategy, do you think it could still perform? It's going to perform because of the dilution. It's going to perform because, and don't get me wrong, it's still operating at a premium. I don't even know what it's at today. It's like 1.8, 1.9, something like that. Let's see here. We'll load it up. What is the premium? Let me click to collapse this. It is currently at like 1.97 or something like that, 1.96. So it's still operating at a premium, but I do think that can drag up and get into the threes, maybe the 3.5 range. But it's not, it's good. It's good that they're diluting and buying Bitcoin, because even with the dilution included, you're getting more Bitcoin per share every time they do it. The only thing you have to worry about is whether or not they're leveraging up too much. And the last time I heard, their leverage goal was 25%, which is a fraction of what it allows them basically to have a huge drawdown, and it doesn't bother them at all. Different committee, not banking, digital assets. Previous chair, French Hill. Thank you. I guess Matthew is just proud that someone from Wyoming and a woman will be the new head of the crypto committee. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Lummis being the chair of the digital asset subcommittee is huge for us.
Yes, I agree.
That means that she has the ability to hold hearings.
Yes.
It means that she has the ability to drive the agenda of what is being prioritized in the Senate. And so as it relates to digital assets. And so it's massive that she has this role, and it has way bigger benefits to us than just like giving momentum to the SBR, but there's a laundry list of things that we want to achieve, and she's going to be in a position to facilitate the conversation and drive the narrative.
Time zone confusion.
And then in terms of like the SBR specifically, the SBR is going to happen, and like I anticipate it being done in the first 100 days.
Oh, weird.
Where in that
there
100
is
days,
one unavailable. You're right.
I don't know. But I think it's extremely likely that it happens. There are two different flavors of the SBR. One is executive order, one is legislative. We will pursue both of them.
Yeah, that's true.
And then on the executive order side, they have the discretion of, they could easily have an acquisition program that would, that could potentially be in the tens of billions of dollars. But like that's, it does have
one tweet got deleted about the time frame,
and it's not some unbelievable sum. Here. It's like a MicroStrategy, but it's not like the scale that the government could do. We need legislation to do a large scale, 1 million bitcoins, 2 million bitcoins purchasing program. So, but these are sorry,
turn it off, bro.
These are things that can be done concurrently. So like, it's not like, we pick one or the other. It's like we do the.
Can somebody put the fucking time zone in their posts?
The legislative next.
Dave, just a question. If I were to ask you probabilities that you think a strategic reserve will purchase Bitcoin. When I say purchase Bitcoin, not just hold the remaining government Bitcoin, but actually
there's so much waiting right now.
Purchase new Bitcoin in 2025. What would you put the probabilities at?
Nice.
I would say
Trump talking to Bukele.
Bitcoin. I'd put the probability. It's a dynamic situation. So like as the price of Bitcoin goes up, I feel like what we can get also expands.
That's
I would put
interesting
the odds right
too.
Now, like probably 25% that we buy Bitcoin. And
I would say it's about 10.
I'd put the odds of us holding the Bitcoin we already have
very high
by executive order at like
100.
Basically, 90. Not 100. I'd say 90%. And what I would disagree with you on is like
I don't
think the U.S. Just setting a policy
I posted
to
the El
hold their
Salvador
Bitcoin,
one, guys.
Is like underwhelming in any regard. Like that will pump ever shit out of the price.
The game theory of that, it's never been about buying. Frankly, listen, I think it would be amazing, but it's always been about the meaning behind the declaration of what the.
I've spoke to, okay, so Ago says, Jesse, novice question, could the U.S. government designate a miner to mine for its reserves? No, they wouldn't do that. I don't think they'd do that. I think they would just buy from them. They would buy from miners that are stationed in the United States if they end up doing that or when they do it, because I think eventually they will. But they won't, this government isn't about the government having control of things. They would just simply buy Bitcoin from whoever gives them the best rate out of the miners and probably do it in large blocks when they get to that point. I do think that'll happen eventually. I'm not remotely thinking about that in the next month or two for like buying announcements. But I do think if they end up doing that, it's going to be crazy. And I don't know that that's what we're getting during this call. Maybe it's just Cynthia Lummis saying, hey, I'm the head of this committee, and I'm going to be pushing our agenda forward. Again, guys, this is the person who's been the biggest advocate for a Bitcoin strategic reserve out of anybody in Washington. Anybody. There is no bigger person than her, okay? So if she's got control of this, it's a really, really positive thing. Trump signing an executive order. Do we know about what? I'll look at the notes here. Thank you guys for all your help. Oh, did I lose him? Huh, I lost him. All right, let me go back. We'll see what they have to say. Dennis Porter. There we go.
If they all start buying at once, you can possibly price
Scott, I'm going to argue that's a long time away. And the reason I'm going to argue that it's a long time away is because there's so many policies that have to change in so many different countries.
I like crypto.
You heard when Powell spoke the
I like
other day,
crypto
he said,
banner, but he's usually wrong.
Can't even hold Bitcoin,
especially timing.
Like in terms of the legislation right now, they can't even hold it, even if they want to.
It's not true. Like most of these countries have the same setup that the United States has, where they've confiscated Bitcoin from criminal activities and had to liquidate them. They're already set up to some degree to hold digital assets and to sell them. And dude, I know for a fact, because I've been part of the conversations, that there are many different nations that are evaluating this right now, and they're trying to determine whether the Donald Trump just made a
we could have a crypto
promise.
We'll have a crypto reserve,
and he's not going to follow through, or if he is going to follow through. And so
I saw that, Andy.
I think the game theory of this kicks in right away. And if Trump signs an EO, I think China has an executive order, or like China has their own strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Thank you guys for pumping the news to me. Appreciate it.
Like
David,
this will move real fast.
Really quick. I don't know if you got to go, but if you don't, you hinted the other day. Obviously, there was this, I think, unwarranted disappointment that Bitcoin wasn't mentioned in the inauguration speech, or that we didn't get an executive order on day one. I mean, I would argue that Trump freed Ross, and there's a lot of executive orders coming. But you tweeted
Trump
something
to speak virtually at Davos.
200 of them. You know for a fact that there's going to be crypto-related executive orders coming.
I haven't seen that.
Everyone chill, right? I mean, that's the gist. So, what do you?
Thanks, Nabil.
I don't think I said I know for a fact, because I haven't read the EO myself. So I mean, like, I'm
get a real fucking job. You guys are
sharing what I was told by someone who would know. But I saw a list of EOs and by topics, and I fully expect there to be, in the next several days, I don't know what pace they're grinding through these EOs at, but very, very soon there will be dedicated crypto Bitcoin EOs, and So the Ross Ulbricht.
Sorry, Alex. Yeah, it's distracting, right?
Is kind of completely separate from those.
I was gonna go. I should be at the gym right now.
It just tips the hat that he's serious about some of the promises, and that was something that I know that you were very passionate about, and had to do it, but that Bitcoiners really wanted to see. Because that one was a kind of
ain't messing around.
Specifically day one kind of.
How much you got in your portfolio now, JD? You're up there, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think it's super bullish for the SBR, because it just shows that he's super serious about promises made, promises kept. And as soon as he announced it, I got blown up by a bunch of people from the organization.
Oh, this is interesting.
Made, promises kept. So I mean,
is this a rumor? Vivek's. Let me just see if there's anything real.
I think the bigger takeaway from this announcement, or the people's excitement about this being a Bitcoin reserve announcement from Lummis, is look how much excitement there is around this topic. There is a ton of momentum behind this idea, and it's just a matter of time of getting this done legislatively. And like, we really should start like rallying the campaign to push this, you know, in Congress, like ASAP, because like this is a completely parallel track to the EO.
That's not bad, JD. I retired with 375,000, so
yeah,
it's better than me.
To David's point here, so this is kind of like, I guess, the next phase of like the policy like attention here. So like I remember like 4 years ago when I was still or I guess like 5 years ago when I was working on Capitol Hill, when it was like Lummis, I think, at the time, and then my old boss Warren Davidson would tweet something pro crypto, the entire like Twitter would go crazy and the markets would like react, even though it was just a positive tweet, because people misinterpreted it as that like this law for like regulation of stable coins or market structure is going to happen today. So we just kind of saw a little bit of that as well. But here's the upside: that Lummis now is, what she says on Twitter matters, because she's the one you get to decide, David's point, what bills get hearings, what hearings matter, what bills advance, what bills die.
Bobby,
so
you need a lot more
what she
in
says,
New York,
especially on Twitter, since she's very much running her own show here. It does matter. So
that's
that's going to be really important, what she says, and like what dictates moving forward through Congress. And to the reserve point, I think the one thing we got to, folks kind of miss in the markets compared to DC is that there is like a faction of more Republican-leaning or right-leaning groups that are against the SPR as the one that Lummis proposed, where the government actually goes and buy it. So there's not full cohesion, you would say, especially on the Republican side,
thank you,
on this view, and that's probably why we haven't seen as much of a push like in the House at this stage. That will likely change, but just flagging that there are other groups that are not all gun-ho.
Okay, so that's him.
Who do you think are the biggest detractors?
I mean, Cato did a pretty deep dive into it. They had a couple of folks on that front here, but the Cato does have a lot of folks in Congress who listen to them on the conservative side. So like that's one of the more of the outspoken groups.
I think this could not
BA,
be Bitcoin related though with Bukele.
I
just want to be clear. It might not be Bitcoin at all.
Who are not as excited or don't really care. So like we're kind of in this split situation. But that's just saying from my perspective, it's kind of
I don't even know if it's related.
Twitter makes it seem sometimes.
I really don't.
And there are one of the problems in the industry. One of the problems in the industry, and having just recently been sitting down with a lot of the different groups, is that this is a Bitcoin strategic reserve, and even though most crypto folks have Bitcoin, like
immigration,
a lot of folks now are trying to make a play to be included in the strategic reserve. Not only are we seeing that happen at the federal level, I won't name names at the.
It's probably going to be more like
risk
that.
of pissing certain people off, but we certainly have had some activity at the state level where we have had certain crypto companies, I will call them. I would hardly call them a decentralized protocol, but certain crypto companies
10 a.m.
have approached lawmakers that we're working with to have their crypto included into the efforts to be able to build a strategic reserve at the state level. And then I also wanted to go back to the whole like momentum building that was mentioned earlier. That price certainly will be one component, but also the states passing strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation into law at the state level is going to be massive for driving momentum for a variety of reasons. But people often say, other countries, let's wait till other countries are the ones that are going to be doing this, and that's going to drive momentum. But people forget that the states.
So Trump is speaking in 27
Texas, for example,
minutes,
is the 8th largest economy in the world. California is the 5th largest economy in the world. It's having one of these states move forward on a strategic Bitcoin reserve is going to be as big, if not bigger, than another nation state.
I agree. I'm killing them for now. Too much noise. Trump is going to address the World Economic Forum here in a few minutes. That should be interesting. Real quickly here, I'm going to hop over and we're going to listen to CNBC for a minute. I need to talk to my wife because I'm supposed to be at the gym right now. So I'm just going to let her know that we're going to hang out for another 30 minutes here to see what Trump has to say to the World Economic Forum, because I think that's going to be interesting. Am I thinking about putting on any bet? I'm not a day trader. I have shit tons of money in Bitcoin and related proxies. I've got 1.4 million just in MicroStrategy and MSTX, with over 500,000 in MSTX. So I got my Bitcoin trades, man. Any update from CleanSpark congratulating her? No, but we're confused about the time frame. Breaking news: Cynthia Lummis missing. You're hilarious.
This was going to happen regardless of who was president, but to have the full force of the government behind it, to have Trump rescind that AI safety order from the Biden administration, kind of opening up to give these guys free rein to do what they want. But it's hard to read
has
anything
left the
but
room.
Elon Musk here.
We're back up to 104.6, guys.
Remember, Elon Musk was one of the co-founders of
It wants
OpenAI.
to
He
pump.
had the chance today to be part of the hardest startup on the planet, one of the fastest growing startups in the history of technology. And instead, he divorced himself from that company over a difference of opinion of how it should be run, nonprofit or profit. He wanted to be CEO at one point, according to emails that OpenAI has released. And now we're seeing these two kind of snipe at each other after they both get into the president's ear, both appear with the president in recent days. And this is what we're seeing play out. You're looking at the tweets right now about how these two are just really sniping each other. They have no love for each other.
Crypto
And by the
briefing
way, guys,
stating the B
all these
and
CEOs that we
big
saw
and
earlier in
Lummis
this week that
announcement
were
is
standing
stylized like the
behind or
Bitcoin
sitting
symbol.
behind President Trump when he was inaugurated on Monday, none of these CEOs
What
really
crypto
have
town
much
hall?
love for each other. You will never hear Google say a nice word about
Something
Oracle.
recent?
You'll never hear Microsoft say a nice word about Google either. You'll never hear Apple say a nice word about Meta and vice versa. So these guys are all competitors and all trying to kind of battle for the affections of President Trump as they kind of live under the thumb of what he's doing right now, which is
What are we talking about,
potentially
guys?
slapping tariffs on Apple.
Link it to me if you
potentially,
got it.
you've got, you know, all these threats that he made in the election against some of these people. We're seeing all this come into play and really play favor. Sam Altman, by the way, has completely reversed his positioning around Trump. There are some tweets that have been dug up since this battle kind of got between these two guys. We've seen Altman say things in the past, very anti-Trump tweets and positioning about that. And now he's kind of taken the other turn and saying he's seen Trump in action, he's seen Trump in person, and he has a
they're always
very
trying to
different
do that.
opinion of him now,
Funny
guys.
how Iran dumped
Yeah,
$1
it's
billion
fascinating to
news.
watch. Of course,
And
worth
it's back on
mentioning
track.
as well,
Back of my ass,
XAI
still can't
is
believe
Elon
we
Musk's
front-ran the
AI
elites.
initiative.
Oh, dude,
My
it's
last
easy to do
reporting,
that when they're
obviously,
trying to
they
do a
raised that
different
$6
mission
billion
than
at a
ours.
$50+ billion, $51 billion valuation, but it's only going up from here is the expectation, as well as if and when they continue to raise additional capital. Steve, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Steve Kovac. Our next guest says the Stargate project is positive for
We reached
NVIDIA, for ARM, alongside
1,468
high-bandwidth memory plays such
people
as
today, guys.
Arista Networks. Wells
Thank you
Fargo's
for
Aaron
being here.
Rakers joins us now.
This is the highest
Aaron,
I've
what's
ever
the
had.
takeaway? I mean, the big number, obviously,
On a
100
regular
billion,
market open.
maybe going
Thank
as much as a half a trillion.
free to sub.
Even though there are
It's a
some
good one.
questions
We're the
about who
best
has
out
the
there.
money and how over
Just
what
ask
period of
chat.
time it'll be spent.
Yeah, I think the takeaway here is that we've got another, leg to the.
I'm going to kill that for now. I'm probably going to keep Dennis up and just mute him. Lord, True is saying that have a bigger revenue and more future buying power, even what's considered a small stake coming in in a hodler is huge. Totally agree. Yeah, that's 100% true. I want to see this. Why am I not seeing this? One sec here, guys. Something's weird. Oh, there we go. Start listening was way down.
Not how that reads to me.
Come on.
Just tell you. I'm just
I
telling
don't
you
think
guys.
he's talking to.
Yeah. Right.
I don't
I'm
think
saying
he's talking
that.
to.
Yeah.
To
that's not
Salvador
how that
about
reads.
Bitcoin. Come on, I don't think he's talking to.
I agree.
I think
Right.
we
I'm just
all
saying
think
that's
it's
how they
Bitcoin.
were reading it. Stupid. Yeah.
Dude, guys, we got to get to the point where, do y'all remember when, like, every time Gary Gensler would go do an interview, the first question he'd be asked is, like, when Bitcoin ETF, and he, like, to the point where he was, like, annoyed by it. Like, we need to make it so that every single time a politician says they have some, like, legislative news or Trump says he's
Yeah, all these anti-Trump folks must have watched How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Yeah. Intel Senate vote, 10 a.m., becoming a chair of Digital Asset Committee. Yeah, from Eleanor Terra. Yeah, it sounds like that. Sounds like that's what's happening. We do have, in 23 minutes, we have Trump speaking at the World Economic Forum. I think that's going to be pretty exciting, so I'm probably going to jump to that. I do need to talk to my wife real quick, though, and let her know that we're a little bit delayed today because of the news that's going on. So I'm going to unmute this real quick, guys, and I will be right back in a second. Bitcoin's sitting above 105 again. Very exciting. So give me 1 minute so I can communicate with my wife, and I'll be right back.
And that will like put the idea in Trump's head again, and then he'll go, oh yeah, he'll remember that Bitcoin exists, and then go and.
To be clear, that's 21 minutes until we have Trump speaking at the World Economic Forum, and I don't know time zone wise if we'll get an update about Cynthia Lummis too, being the head of the Digital Assets Committee. We'll see.
Can go and sign the order. I don't know.
They don't, though. I think the United States still has more than El Salvador, right? Unless the Bitfinex coins get sent back and they've already sold the Silk Road. Go ahead, Simon. Sorry, I know you're waiting.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the El Salvador is way more likely to be discussing immigration and mass deportation.
Exactly.
And M13 and that type of stuff. And planning any kind of strategy around deportations. But just in terms of framing, Cynthia Lummis has already kind of shown how she's framed it to deal with the objection of wasted resources. Because this isn't like QE where the Fed is, printing digital dollars in order to acquire government debt, which is inflationary by nature. It's talking about reframing the strategic reserves. So currently there are gold reserves, and swapping some gold reserves to hedge with Bitcoin reserves and using some engineering would actually strengthen the dollar, but not be inflationary and not change the supply. So it's just the communications. Obviously, there's lots of nuance that people don't understand in these things, but almost like the Nixon shock in '71, he had to really dumb down the statement to try and reframe the fact that the US was defaulting and make it sound like it's good for America. So it just requires a bit of creativity in helping people understand that this is good for the dollar.
I want to ask you guys something on a slightly different topic. I had a little bit of a brainwave in the last 24 hours. I think everybody in crypto is waiting for alt season, right? Or a lot of people in crypto are waiting for alt season, right?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Can we
jump. Thank you, Scott, for putting the room together. Looking forward to the next one. See you guys soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
So
Go ahead, Brandon.
I have a question. I have a few questions. Number one, do you define alt season the same way that I define alt season? And to me, alt season is when altcoins as a collective outperform Bitcoin.
Yes, I agree with that. That it would be a major drop in Bitcoin dominance.
Okay, so then let's just work with that out. What it means mathematically, it means that on a relative basis, more money must flow into the altcoin and into altcoins and into Bitcoin. So, as an example, Bitcoin has a $2 trillion market cap. ETH has a $300 billion market cap. So you'd say that there's a 6-to-1 difference, right? So you'd say that for every $1 billion that flows into Bitcoin, more than $150 million needs to flow into ETH, right? So on a relative basis, more money needs to flow into altcoins and into Bitcoin. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
No, because you could flow money out of Bitcoin too. So just because you top one up doesn't mean
on a net basis.
I don't like listening to Ron Noir. I like him when he was like just interviewing people and he had his little Bitcoin segment on CNBC, but I don't love listening to him because he's usually really off base. Jesse, could you please talk to us about implied volatility for MicroStrategy calls? They could be a better play than MSTX. Oh, they probably could be. I've just been lazy and haven't done anything with it, and they're really expensive and most people probably can't afford them. That's why I went the MSTX route, because they're cheaper. So they could be better. I don't know. Either way, I'll be dialing out a leverage soon enough. But yeah, if you run the options calculator, you can get a beat on that. Let me see here real quick. I'm just going to refresh and see if there's anything new. So Trump speaking in 17 minutes at the World Economic Forum. I was going to bail before that, but Bloomberg, El Salvador meeting at 3:30 p.m. All right, thanks, dude. Thanks, Vec. Whatever. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. So it's going to be a crazy day. We've got Bukele conversations. We've got Trump talking in front of the World Economic Forum. I'm sure that will be enlightening. And then, again, we're still waiting on that news for Cynthia Lummis. It sounds like she's going to be the head of the committee. And she is the biggest, I've said this a bunch of times, she's the biggest governmental advocate for Bitcoin that I know of. And she has been for years. And out of the Senate, the House, everything, she is the best. There's other people that have jumped on the bandwagon, but man, she leads it. And so I'm very excited to see what she's going to be doing in the future. You say CleanSpark's moving? Is it really moving? 2.5%. I mean, for CleanSpark, that's good. At least it's getting above the 100 moving average on the daily. That's progress. We'll take it. For CleanSpark, man, we don't even need good news. If the stock is up, it's good enough for us. Alexander Hill. Yeah, there's 28% shorts. Yeah, if there is anything that is specific to CleanSpark that indicates some kind of expansion plan, or let's say she announces some kind of strategic reserve or whatever, I don't know what all could be. Anything tying in with CleanSpark whatsoever, the shorts would be utterly, face-rippingly destroyed. It would be very exciting to see. Man, Mahindra, not that that's happening, but it would be very interesting. Aaron Brenner, thank you for joining. Appreciate you for being here. That gives you the ability to be able to talk and chat. And we don't gift memberships anymore because we found we got a bunch of dipshits in here. When we did that, people that aren't invested in it and that have no financial incentive to be nice and to work with each other as a team. So we don't do that anymore. But I love it when people sign up themselves. Alexander Hill, why is Trump buying wrapped Bitcoin? I don't know, because he's a fucking degen who just started into the crypto space. I mean, let's hold Trump to as much accountability as we would be if we started with Bitcoin and crypto for the first time. Some people are very smart and they just go into Bitcoin right away and they get it, right? A lot of people end up starting off with altcoins. I don't care, really. I just care that this man is supporting crypto and supporting Bitcoin, and I'm not going to hold him to higher levels than I would have held myself. I think way too many people are like, he needs to be Bitcoin only. He shouldn't have a shitcoin. He shouldn't be doing any of these other things. I don't give a fuck. I just want more adoption. Why is Oklo pumping? I don't know. That's a security one, right? I don't know off the top of my head. There's probably news. BTC is really cheap at $0.1 million. That's my take too, Casper. Why are people talking about selling Mara's Bitcoin mining business since it isn't as profitable that they need to buy BTC? I don't know. I don't think that fucking matters, man. Here's the thing. They've got a massive amount of Bitcoin, so they're going to be in a really good position to buy new mining equipment in the bear. So I don't know. I'm kind of agreeing with Crypto Klepto a lot lately that they're sitting in a really good position. Oh, that's the nuclear. The Sam Altman. I don't know. Let's take a look. We'll look. Let's see if there's any news on it. We could probably find something really quickly. And I don't know if I have this one in the Discord. We should add it if we don't. Let's just hop over here and look. Lummis post. Wait. Okay, so we got something. Watch Bitcoin's price action here too, guys, to see what's going on. But let's get over here. So we got Lummis post. Somebody tag me. If you got a post, guys, tag me. Tag me. No SBR confirmed, but it sounds like she's going to be heading a committee that will be making a lot of those choices. Thank you, Gino. This just came out a minute ago, and it's already just fucking everywhere. Honored to chair the Senate Banking Subcommittee on Digital Assets. Digital assets are the future of the United States. Wants to remain a global leader in the financial innovation. Congress needs to urgently pass bipartisan legislation establishing a comprehensive legal framework for digital assets and strengthen the U.S. dollar with a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I'm humbled my colleagues have placed their trust to me to chair this historic stuff. This is how the strategic Bitcoin reserve gets created. This is fucking it right here. It's her, and it's going through the Senate subcommittee, and it's doing it the right way, not just doing an executive order. This is fucking it. I'm humbled my colleagues have placed their trust to me to chair this historic subcommittee, and I look forward to shepherding bipartisan legislation to President Trump's desk in the year to secure our financial future. She is literally talking about using the Senate subcommittee to make a Bitcoin strategic reserve. This is it. This isn't a bad announcement. I don't know how the market takes it. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck how the market takes it. Because this is great. This is great. And thank you to everybody who links here, too, to help us out. Pocahontas isn't going to be happy. No, she won't. Elizabeth Warren's not going to like this. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve confirmed. The term Bitcoin Purchase Program means the term cool storage. What is this from? I'll tag it for now and just look later. There's so much news coming out. Get it done. This is Signal, guys. This is it. It's happening. It's fucking happening. It's happening. They're going to do it. They're going to do it the right way. They're going to do it. They're going to get congressional approval. Gary Gensler's puking. There's a Trump coin, and then we're talking about making Bitcoin a strategic reserve asset for the U.S. government and leading in digital assets and finance in the future ahead. It's about as good as it fucking gets, guys. It's about as good as it gets. Just amazing. This is crazy. Oh, so we got Trump speaking in 11 minutes. We'll stick around for that to see what comes out of it. Our main man in Washington, Jason Browder, is in the room here where it happens, and we'll be sending Cynthia Lummis with this plaque commemorating Mara Trump 47. I mean, that's cool. I don't know that matters too much. They say history repeats itself, so here we go again. Easy 50,000x now. Live trading will start in 1 hour. First, I don't want to be affiliated with anything with some crypto pump shit, so I'm going to take that post down. I don't know who the fuck these people are. Bye. It's just day 3 of Trump administration, and all of this is happening. Imagine the next few months. That's what I've been saying, dude. Have I not been saying that, man? I've been saying that, right? I'm like, guys, shit's going to get crazy in the not too distant future. And you know what? Just for that, just for a second here, we're going to take a segue while we're waiting, okay? Because we're on the Trump train now, bitches. Since I don't know when. This isn't the actual song, it's just my video from it. I gotta find this. This was a TikTok video, I guess. If anybody has the link to this, dude, shoot that shit over to me. Fuck, I love that song so much. I'm sorry. Segue. Love that song so much. That image, I'm sorry, that image right there. I'm just gonna go back here. That image right there with the Trump train and Johnny Cash. Oh, it gets me so excited for America. It's so symbolic to me of what we're getting ready to do as a country. I'm stoked. Let's see. Oh, they're talking about President Trump's remarks. Let's actually hop over to that real quickly here. Oh, okay. Did I ever watch what? Did you ever watch What's the Problem video? I don't know, man. I've seen so much content. You'd have to be more specific or to provide something. Tag me on something. Yeah, dude, it's so good. It's so good. So we're sitting here waiting. All right, while we're waiting, one more time. Johnny Cash, President Trump. Since I don't know when. Yeah, they did, Adam. It's not even just that, bro. After the song, I'll show you. I'll show you guys in a second here. Yeah, I'll try and find the post and I'll link it because I fucking love it. All right, so real quickly, people are asking, did the Strategic Reserve get announced? So let's talk about that, okay? Because it did and it didn't. So Senator Cynthia Lummis is honored to be the chair of the Senate's Banking Subcommittee on Digital Assets. I will tell you why this guarantees a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Quote, Cynthia Lummis. Digital assets are the future, and if the United States wants to remain a global leader in financial innovation, Congress needs to urgently pass bipartisan legislation establishing a comprehensive legal framework for digital assets, and that strengthens the U.S. dollar with a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I am humbled my colleagues have placed their trust in me to chair this historic subcommittee, and I look forward to shepherding bipartisan legislation to President Trump's desk this year to secure our financial future. So this is the way that it would happen if it was done right, okay? This is it. This is the way that we would do it. It wouldn't be an executive order. It would be a subcommittee for digital assets that is pushing for a strategic Bitcoin reserve and at the same time creating the legal framework to make us the #1 country in the world for everything digital assets. And you've got Larry Fink talking about how he wants to get bonds and stocks on digital ledgers. So shit's going to get weird. It's going to get real weird in the future here. And it's not saying it's happening today. She didn't even promise that it would happen this month. Oh, here we go. We're back.
President Trump is set to make a special virtual address at
Davos
you got it?
in
just a few minutes.
You can't post it here, Casper.
She's going to help us sort of figure out what we want to keep.
If you got the link, if you already grabbed it, and I think I have it too, but if you have it, tag me, and then I'll shoot it out to people. Tag it on X. Let's see here. Yes, we got that. Must watch. What's the problem? Let everyone getting the starting line accessible to all. The story of Fiat and Fiatalo and the big red button. Something we can all send before the first Bitcoin book podcast. I'll check it out later. All right, 40 minutes. That's too much for right now. Can you tag me on the train video in a post? Casper. Casper with a C, not a K. And if you don't have it there, I can find it. But if you got it, that'd be cool. You could tag me. That'd be sweet. Fraudulent behavior is cause for termination. Yes. Otherwise, I could find it. Casper, can you post on your X page? Yeah, and just tag me on it. If you could do that, because it doesn't work with YouTube to be able to do those things. On it. Okay. So just tag me in the post. And then we'll be set. We'll be set. Nothing to see here. All right, refresh. What? That's kind of broken. I know I get notifications still. X must be blowing up. I don't know what's happening. So we got 4 minutes until Trump's speech. We'll come back and look at that in a second to see if we get the train video. Let's go over here and wait.
Yesterday as well. And that was something, Carl, that was a huge topic.
I don't think it's going to be hard at all. I follow the Senate and the House all the time. I don't think it's going to be hard at all. I mean, I think there'll be things that they have to do. It's ideally they get some Democrats on board. But I know there are some, like the Democratic senator, I forget his name, that are super pro-Bitcoin. And even on the conservative side, on the right, the people telling you that it's going to be hard to pass a bipartisan bill are like the mainstream media and a bunch of liberals. It's not going to be that hard. It's just not.
Of discussion in Scott Bessent, the incoming Treasury Secretary's confirmation hearing last week with sanctions. Bessent coming out really strong, saying he thought the last administration didn't come out strong enough on sanctions, saying we were too dependent on our adversaries for oil. That's why we weren't coming on stronger. So you can see the connection there with this sort of drill energy agenda with coming on stronger on sanctions as well. You're very right that could be a topic. And mentioning the banks as well, there's been a lot of optimism in Davos. You're absolutely right. That's one group that is really thinking they'll benefit from a friendlier administration with Trump in the White House than they did under President Biden.
And I know you keep track more closely than many, in fact, perhaps any do, in terms of what we're likely to get on tariffs. What's the latest chatter, whether it be 10% across the board, Mexico and Canada, not China, yes, China?
Oh, it's 24-hour repeat. Love it.
There's a lot going on that front. February 1st is the date that we're watching. That's what he said is the deadline for when he wants to impose 25% on Canada and Mexico and 10% on China. My view, and from my understanding from reporting, is that that's still a negotiating point, that he's still trying to get Canada and Mexico 2%? To the table, potentially to reopen that USMCA trade deal a little bit earlier than the next summer deadline that's already been in place. So we're still watching that. He's likely to wait until his trade team is in place, and that could take a few weeks longer before we get any real movement, but I would definitely expect those tariff threats to continue.
All right, and you'll be watching them closely for us. Megan, thank you. Megan Casella from Washington, D.C. We're taking a look at a market here. It's sort of a mixed message. We got the NASDAQ down about 0.25%. The broader market, S&P, as you see, up ever so slightly. Apple shares are up for the first time in a bit. Stock is still down 10%.
You know what's so funny is when I was reporting the inauguration, I was using CNBC, which I use every day, and I didn't have any issues with it. But when it's Trump's inauguration, they blocked me on 2 different feeds, and then I went back and basically said they were discriminating against Trump's inauguration, and then they immediately said, "Oh, our bad. Nope, it looks like you were fine." But again, they kept me from streaming it. They kept Amit from streaming it. It's just funny how that stuff works. It's funny how that works. YouTube sucks. Every time I said, "Okay, time to sleep," then boom. News coming in. I know, right? Well, this is Trump in 2 minutes, not even 1.5 minutes. We're going to be hearing Trump talking at the World Economic Forum, which is huge. I don't know if he's going to Javier Milei these motherfuckers, but Javier just shit all over them, everything they represent. And I would, I got to stick around to see some of that. Seeing Trump trash on the World Economic Forum would be the highlight of my day today. Sleep is for a bear market. Yeah. The American Adventure, it was total bullshit if YouTube would get over these policies. YouTube would be such a leader. Yeah, they're going to die. I think X will be the leader, but X needs to actually make a decent video interface for creators because it sucks right now. Morgan Brennan is the hottest. Which one's Morgan Brennan? Are you guys fighting over CNBC hosts that you think are the hottest? All right, let me pull it up. I think you guys were talking about Morgan Brennan before. Brennan, CNBC. Let's see here. Opinions on CleanSpark. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to side with you on this one. Opinions on CleanSpark. ETA on Trump WEF. Literally, it's supposed to be happening like in a minute. So we should be breaking over to it in a second. Opinions on CleanSpark. I mean, I have a lot of call options on CleanSpark, so they're going to be heavily biased. I've got about almost $400,000, with 75% of that being in options. Hair too short. Okay, JD doesn't like the short hairs. Good to know. Good to know. You guys are great. This is great filler conversation while we wait here. We should do a poll. CNBC poll. He's going to shit on them harder than he shit on Biden, Kamala, and Obama and Clinton's while they sat right behind him. Casper likes short hair. Gentlemen assembled here. JD preferred bald. Casper wild. Economy and baddies. Oh, dude, he's going to just trash these people. So I'm all for it. I'm here for it. And again, Bitcoin ain't hating the price action today, guys. We're still at 105.4. I think breakouts are imminent. What's my Trump coin doing? We up on Trump coin? We got some money on Trump coin. Okay, so Trump coin trying to get above that peak volume, still sitting underneath of it. But man, if things take off right now, guys, to be clear, I just want to mention something here real quick. I want to put it towards live. I'm going to put it towards live. I want to be very clear on something. Bitcoin moves first. It's the largest container. MicroStrategy would probably come in next. Mara would come in next. And CleanSpark might come in earlier just because of the fact that it got really good news. But don't be like Bitcoin up 2%, CleanSpark only up 1%. First off, they close at different times. So their percentages are always going to be different. Bitcoin closes at, I think it's 7 right now. It depends on the time zones and like if the whatever. But it's 6 or 7. And so it closes at that time. And then stocks close at a different time, right? 3 o'clock. So their percentages are never going to perfectly align. So that needs to be the first thing that you realize. And the second is that Bitcoin will move first. And if the news is really great, it brings the whole market up. That's the other thing, okay? Jesse, are you coming to LA anytime this year? I don't know. I hadn't planned on doing too much traveling, but it depends. Maybe. Might do a road trip. What the hell? Opinions on BITX then. I did buy it. I bought $86,000 worth yesterday. 87. I'm down 1.7% on it. BTC then, thank you for joining. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to watch Beverly Hillbillies today just for the fuck of it. I love this.
Just because.
Sorry, President Trump. 1 second. I just want to reiterate something. 10 days out of 365 days, we see the vast majority of Bitcoin's moves. This is why you don't want to focus on the potentially negative things that can happen, or at least you want to do research to understand how real they possibly are, because nobody gives 2 single fucks about the Bank of Japan and what they're doing with rates. Nobody fucking cares. CleanSpark don't fucking care. Up 7% on the day. Nobody fucking cares. So don't try and be smarter than Bitcoin in a bull market. That's my advice. I was watching the leader of Finland talk about how Trump is 100% right and they need to be doing more to be able to basically fund their own defense. I do think, though, that defense bond thing still sounds really good. So if they're not willing to pay the percentage and they want our fucking help, buy our bonds, bitches.
I insisted that they...
Interesting post over here. I'm going to pop it up just really quick. It says that China liquidated a huge amount of their Plus token holding. This is a scam from years ago. That was their reserve. They used to have 170,000 Bitcoin from Plus token, and it looks like they wiped out almost all of it. I don't know what this means for their actual reserves right now, but somebody who's pretty smart underneath it here that was speaking a little bit ago into the Davis Porter space said, David Bailey said, not all, but some, they stopped selling when Trump announced support. So now that Trump is on board, they stopped selling this. But again, massive amounts of this have been sold off per Crypto Quant CEO Ki Young Zhu. So it's very fascinating. So we might by far be the largest country holding Bitcoin as a reserve right now.
And they have
Trump actually has a huge approval rating in China. That they like him, so it's smart for him to buddy up and say, "I'm Trump's," or "I'm Xi's friend." It's very. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, so that was good. That was good, and it shows a lot of power that the president has now with all these people sucking up to him. I want to show you this real quick, and then I'm probably going to bail soon, guys, because it's almost 11 Central Time here, and I've been running for 4 hours. But listen to this. Listen to this violent gang member talking about how he's not going back to Haiti. Listen to this. Oh, I guess we can't hear it. Whatever. Are captions working? Yeah, there we go. So this guy says, I'm not going back to Haiti. Fuck Trump. You feel me? Yo, Biden, forever, bro. Thank you, Obama, for everything he did for me, bro. He's getting deported. So this says a lot about Joe Biden and Obama when you got criminals giving you a shot out. And I think, again, this is beautiful. We're getting rid of the bad guys. We're going to get rid of them in a heavy way. People don't, I've said this. I told you that Trump was going to get elected. And I told you that he's going to be hitting shit hard and that he's going to be transforming American society and business and our economy in real time. And he's got the backing of people like Elon Musk and more. You guys can follow the noise if you want to. You can follow mainstream media if you want to. It's totally up to you. But what's real is that these things are happening. What's real is that Elon Musk has an amazing success record. What's real is that Donald Trump will work hard to make these things happen. What's real is that Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, is a brilliant man. And there's many more that follow alongside of him, whether it's Robert F. Kennedy or many, many others, J.D. Vance, all these people that are in control now with the majority in the Senate, the majority in the House, the executive branch, and the Supreme Court. So if you don't think shit's going down, you will understand it soon enough. Ryan, what thoughts on raising rates tomorrow and impact of the Japanese carry trade? I don't think it matters. I don't think anybody gives a shit. The Japanese yen carry trade already unwound from everything I've shown and talked about. It's been a long video today, but it was in there. And yesterday we talked about it. And so I don't think it matters. And I think that the markets are kind of telling you it doesn't fucking matter, at least in the Bitcoin world. And we do know, though, that FS Insight indicated that they do have concerns about the market over the next 3 to 5 days. And they said that market breadth yesterday was really weak. And it was just the big guys going up, and they're kind of overextended. Personally, I think that ends up turning into something where we see rotation, and I think that's healthy. But I could be wrong for a short period of time. I'll be right in the long term. And again, like I said before, multiple times now over the last several days, 10 days out of 365 are the days that you're going to see Bitcoin make the majority of its gains. And if you don't want to be a part of that ride, feel free to try and figure out how you're smarter than Bitcoin and you're able to pull off that, 1 in 40 chance of getting it right and actually getting that drop and getting a couple of extra % on the drop. I'm not fucking around with that shit. I just keep adding every day at this point. Every day I'm just putting more and more in. So, again, ignore the noise. Focus on signal. Trump is changing the United States and making it to where people respect and honor us again. And that's the signal right now, guys. You best believe, again, we've talked about this numerous times today even, but between getting rid of mortgage-backed securities and getting Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac out of conservatorship and then being able to focus the funds that we're devoting to try and be in the mortgage business into things like buying our own bonds back would be a good idea. We're working with Japan as they raise rates to ensure that they have liquidity, to ensure that there's not an issue with the Japanese yen carry trade unwinding. We're gonna do those things, right? And then at the same time, we talked about how if for some reason we had our debt ceiling not get passed, how that would actually just end up providing $650 billion in liquidity, potentially into the markets as spending stops and the Treasury is forced to basically pull from the funds it already has. It would actually be a liquidity creating event. And then we talked about the Michael Howell and defense bonds. There's so many ways that the government can address pulling down the longer end of the curve to be able to help real estate, help us buy our own $8 trillion in bonds back at the end of the year. You best realize the builders are building and they're working on fixing stuff. And I would be optimistic. And does that mean that we could trade down? Yes, but I think we trade up before we trade down. And I think it gives you plenty of time to get cash. I think it gives you plenty of time to hedge. And that's what we're going to try and focus on here on this channel in the days and weeks ahead. Now, I'm going to call it after this 4 hours. I think I'm done. I do want to go back to something real quick, though, because I just want to hear it one last fucking time. So we're going to listen to Johnny Cash, and we're going to close out on this. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace out, okay? Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Peace out.